they did this. Good afternoon. This is the Town of Hempstead Board of Appeals, August 6th, 2 o'clock meeting. Madam Chair, do you have any opening remarks?
I see a number of people who have been here before, so you guys know how this goes. For those of you who have not been here before, we're going to call the calendar in order. We'll first find out if anyone has to an adjournment or a withdrawal, and then we'll go in order. For those of you who are the applicant in the matter, when your case is called, make sure you've signed in advance. When your case is called, come to the front area. You'll be sworn in, and then we'll hear from you. Anyone who's here on a matter and who's not the applicant but wishes to be heard on the matter, if you could come forward when the case is called, maybe sit over in this bench, because you'll be sworn in also and have a chance to tell the board whatever you want us to know about it from this podium. We use the rules of evidence as a guide, but this is not a courtroom, so we use them as a guide, but we are much less formal about it. We will make independent judgments about whether something is relevant and should be let in. We're pretty liberal, so other than that, am I missing anything, Patrick? No? So let's do it.
Madam Chair, we did receive a letter asking for an adjournment on case 42825 Point Lookout, Stephanie Keller, variance, lot area occupied, side yard, rear yard, construct dwelling, also known as 97 Hewlett Avenue.
Do we know what we have people. Okay. Applicant or other?
Applicant? Opposition.
Okay, so you want to swear them both? I prefer they be sworn in okay. Go ahead. What's the reason? Who's requesting the adjournment?
I am.
Okay, tell us.
Yes, my name is Kenneth Allen Brown of the law firm of Kenneth Allen Brown, PLLC, 2115 Hempstead Turnpike, first floor, East Meadow, New York, on behalf of an adjoining landowner.
The whole floor? That's a big firm.
First floor? Well, it's a big building. I guess it is a lot.
Okay, go ahead.
In any event, I'm here on behalf of an adjoining landowner, has a property at 90-foot Glenwood Avenue, and we're seeking an adjournment. I've just basically been recently retained. I've also had some trouble with my computer system in my office, and so having a reasonable adjournment would be appreciated at this time.
Okay, what say you, Ms. Cozzolino?
I have no oppositions regarding it, so if they want to adjourn the case, that's totally fine.
Okay, because I know it's building season and this is a build, so.
Yes.
How much time do you think you need?
I could use 30 days because I have other matters on my calendar.
Okay, 30 days, okay? What do we have, Patrick?
Aren't we a priority, though?
Try to make sure they're ready by then, okay? I hate to hold up cases in the building season, so do what you can.
This is the only adjournment that I'll be getting.
Terrific, thank you. What do we have, Patrick?
Unfortunately, Madam Chair, the nearest date that we have is October 1st, 2025 at 2 o'clock.
Let's see, how far out is that? It's 2 months. All right, should be really ready by then. Okay, 2 o'clock? 2 o'clock? Patrick?
2 o'clock.
2 p.m. Is there anyone else signed in on this case? Because there will not be further notice. Where's this? I don't have a sign-in sheet. Just, do we know if anyone else has signed in on the case? Just to make sure they know they're not going to get another mailing.
Since I did sign in, I'll get a written notice about this adjournment.
No, actually, there's not another written notice going out for the adjourned date because you're here. Okay, so tell anyone else who wants, if your client wants to appear, please apprise them of it. 10-1, 2 o'clock. See you, folks.
Thank you very much.
All done.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay, Mr. Patrick, what have we?
First, we have case 42425 through 42625, West Hempstead, 590 Hempstead LLC. Variance front yard setback on Nassau Boulevard, construct addition to existing building for proposed restaurant, Chipotle. Variance in off-street parking, parking in the front yard setbacks on Hempstead Turnpike and Houston Road, in the clear sight triangles on Hempstead Turnpike, Nassau Boulevard, and Houston Road. Variance front yard setback on Hempstead Turnpike, construct trash enclosure, install 6-foot high fence forward building line on Nassau Boulevard and Houston Road, both which may substantially obstruct line of sight, also known as 590 Hempstead Turnpike. State your name and address for the record.
Where's
Good afternoon, Mrs. D'Amato, members of the board. William Benesso for Chelly Deegan Tirana, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York, here on behalf of the applicant 590 Hempstead LLC. The applicant is the owner of the premises situated at 590 Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead. Here on behalf of the property owner is Mr. David Escava. He is a representative of the LLC. Also with us this afternoon is Kelly Holdsworth, the Northeast Design Manager for Chipotle, the proposed tenant for the property. And seated to my right is Mr. Wayne Muller of R&M Engineering. He is here as our traffic expert. The application before the board calls for relief, variance, and special exception to permit the introduction of a Chipotle restaurant to the premises. The premises is situated on the north side of Hempstead Turnpike in West Hempstead. It is a unique property in that it maintains 3 front yards. It runs from Houston Road south to the west, all the way to Nassau Boulevard to the east, and obviously fronts on those roads and the north side of Hempstead Turnpike. The property is presently improved with a 2,708.3 square foot one-story masonry building, which is a T-Mobile retail store. And the proposal is to add an addition to that existing building of 1,895 square feet to accommodate the proposed Chipotle.
Is that what appears to be shown here with proposed single-story restaurant?
Yes.
That's that section of, okay.
Yes. The property as presently developed is all asphalt. It's striped for 15 parking spaces. The new project will not only add the new restaurant, but will provide new curbing, new landscaped areas, and will almost double the parking provided on site by increasing the available parking stalls to 28 in terms of the number of stalls available.
What's required?
Required is 34, based upon the parking calculations implemented in the zoning ordinance, and I'll get into that in a moment. In terms of the operation, again, I have a representative from Chipotle here if the board has any questions that I can't answer. The operation, this will be on the small side of Chipotle restaurants. It's only an 1,895 square foot building. Some of their more common sites are in excess of 2,400 square feet. This one also does not have a drive-through lane, or as Chipotle calls it, a Chipotle lane, which is really a drive-up. Yes, I think it's cute too. A drive-up lane that you don't use like a typical drive-through at a McDonald's or a Dunkin' Donuts or something like that where you order. The Chipotle lane is only operates on app and phone orders in advance only. It's very popular, particularly with younger customers. This site does not have one, mainly because without it, we were able to provide more parking on site to accommodate the parking demands of the proposed building. The difference in the number of parking spaces really wouldn't justify it. It would trigger too much. of a difference, and plus we have a very active Starbucks on the northeast corner of Nassau Boulevard, which puts a lot of traffic onto Nassau Boulevard. So believe me, Chipotle would have liked to have a drive-through here, but when we discussed it, we felt that the best application to bring to the board would maximize parking and do away with a drive-through operation. So the operation is like every other Chipotle in terms of hours. They would be open from 10:45 a.m. to 11 p.m. 7 days a week, with a handful of major holidays off. In total, they'll probably employ 35 to 40 employees, of which about 28 to 30 will be from the immediate area. Approximately half the jobs would be pardon? How many at once? There's a maximum of eight employees there during the peak hours of the business, and which would be the lunchtime hour, which is basically between 12:30 and 11:30 and 1 o'clock, 1:30, like that. 12 and 1:30, that's what I have in my notes. That's the peak time. There's another lighter peak that's closer to dinner. It's interesting, it's not actually like dinner time, 5:30 to 7, it's more like 3 to 4, 3 to 4:30, that kind of thing. Yeah. So those are the peak times. Those are the times you'll see the most employees present. But the operation actually they start much earlier. They get there, about 2 employees will get there about 6 a.m. That's because they are there to start preparations. Chipotle, everything is prepared fresh on site. There are no refrigerators, no freezers, I shouldn't say no refrigerators, no freezers, no microwaves. Everything is prepared on site. So the food deliveries come, they start to prep the food in the morning, and then they open at 10:45 for their lunch and dinner service. That's what happens basically in the morning. They will receive the deliveries. They'll supervise refuse pickups. Deliveries and refuse pickups take place before hours of operation, so there's no conflict with vehicle parking.
Mr. Vanessa, can you go into the number of trucks and type and when, so we can, because you're abutting
Yes.
residential, so
Yes.
you know the drill.
They get their deliveries via box trucks, not 18-wheelers. They would be occurring prior to the 10:45 opening. They have about 1 delivery a day, 4 to 5 days a week.
Of these trucks we're
Of
talking?
these trucks, correct. And in terms of sanitation pickup, they will have pickups. There's 2 uses here. The retail store doesn't generate a lot of refuse, but obviously the restaurant will. So they expect this site to generate about 4 to 5 pickups a week. It's going to be private carting coordinated by the property owner, because there are 2 users on the site. They also will make sure that occurs when business hours are not going on.
But also the whole glass thing, the garbage and the running of the motor, like,
Well, all of the reason why, and one of the variances we need, the reason why we have our dumpster enclosure in the front of the property is to keep it as far away from the residential properties on Houston Road as possible. By the way, on Nassau Boulevard, behind our property on Nassau, that's a commercial site. That's Ruby's Dry Cleaners, so that's not a residential property. The closest residential property is on Houston Road South. It is just north of us. But the original site plan had a dumpster over there, and I told them, I said, that's never going to fly. You want to move that away.
Right.
So we actually felt that this was the best location. There's ample room to landscape around it to make it more attractive, to put landscaping and shrubbing around it. We'll be happy to provide the board with a landscape plan if you'd like one. But that we felt was the best location for that, because not only does it keep it away from the residents, but all activity stays at the front of the property. The deliveries to the building will be delivered through the front doors. There is a rear door on the building, but that will not be used for deliveries. The deliveries will come through the front door on the south side of the building. The deliveries take typically about 10 minutes, I'm told by the Chipotle representative, and they're handled, again, with the supervision of the employees who are there in the morning.
I'm sorry, Mr. Vanessa, did you say the refuse pickup will probably be 5 times a week or something?
4 to 5 times a week. It'll depend, they'll see what the need is as the site opens up and starts operating, but that's the prediction at this point in time. And because it's private carting, they can control, when that takes place.
Perfect, keep going.
Let's see, we've already covered some of these things. So I told you all the food is made fresh every day. The deliveries will be received through the front door. All delivery trucks will enter and exit from Hempstead Turnpike, not the 2 side access points. So all access to the property for delivery vehicles and for sanitation vehicles will come from Hempstead Turnpike.
So, Mr. Vanessa, just so I'm getting used to, are these 3 curb cuts that are here currently existing?
They are currently existing, and in fact, there is another one that exists. Well, actually, there are 2 others that exist. There's one further north on Nassau Boulevard that currently exists. We are closing that one, and then there is another one
north on
right
Nassau.
next to the corner on Hempstead Turnpike, and we are closing that one. So we are reducing the present number of curb cuts for this site from 5 curb cuts down to 3.
So, wait, Mr. Vanessa, you said there's another one, and I thought you were saying it's not shown. The one near the corner, is that the one that's already shown, or is it a different one?
No, there is one, if you look at the bottom of the site plan, you'll see where it says that there's like a 20-foot distance there. The existing curb cut is over on the easterly side of the property on Hempstead Turnpike, very close to the corner. That is being closed, along with a curb cut that is on the westerly side of Nassau at the top of the property in the northeast corner. May I approach?
No, it's okay, I know where it is, but I
okay.
just want to make it clear. So there are really 5 curb cuts, you propose to close 2, and to keep one on Houston, the one shown that's on Nassau, and the one on Hempstead Turnpike.
Correct, the one that's shown on Hempstead Turnpike. That will be the main ingress and egress for the site, and then the other 2 will serve as secondary curb cuts. But as I was saying, all deliveries and all sanitation, ingress and egress will come from Hempstead Turnpike. I mentioned already the peak times for the operation are 12 to 1:30 p.m. for lunch, and then a smaller peak, if you will, from about 4 to 5:30. We anticipate having 8 employees during the peak shift period, but then later on, after 6 o'clock, they'll reduce the number of employees present, and they'll be back down to 3 or 4 when you hit the closing time.
Mr. Vanessa, when you gave us the required 34, that includes the T-Mobile, right? That's for the whole site?
That includes T-Mobile, correct.
And
The
is there any,
T-Mobile-
is
Pardon?
there any existing variants already in place?
I do not believe so, no. Not for parking, I don't believe so.
Okay.
And I don't believe any variances on the site presently.
Okay.
Now, having described the operation, we do require relief as indicated. We need a front yard setback for the building, front yard setback variance for the building on Nassau Boulevard. If you look at the site plan, you'll see a small notch on that easterly side of the building, 2 feet by 13 feet. That is 8 feet from the property line as opposed to the required 10 feet. That notch is to accommodate a counter and 4 additional seats with a window for people to sit at. This site, as I said, is a very small site. It only has 20 seats. It only has a total of 20 seats. There are basically 2 long bench-type high tops with 8 seats on each, and then there's the 4 seats, one of which is a handicap spot, and the other 3 that are on that little bump out where the counter is. And by having the bump out, you don't interfere with people moving through the site. So we're asking for that de minimis variance on the front yard setback. In addition to that, we have the parking variance, which, as noted, 34 are required. We are providing 28. As you know, the town has 2 ways to calculate restaurant parking. One is 1 space per every 100 square feet of gross floor area. The other is 1 space per every 3 seats. whichever is greater. In this case, the size of the restaurant, 1,895 square feet, triggers the need for the higher parking count of 19 parking spaces. If we were to go by the seat count, which we have argued in the past on other applications is more indicative of true parking demand, we would only be required to provide 7 parking spaces. So we would not even be in a parking variance from a numbers standpoint, from a parking variance situation. The other thing to consider is the building, if you don't have floor plans, I could show you the floor plans. Of that 1,900 square feet, basically, only about 500 square feet of that is actual customer area. The rest is all back of house, freezers, prep areas. Excuse me, not freezers, refrigerators, sorry about that. Refrigerators, prep areas, storage, other equipment, an office for the manager. I could give you a copy of the floor plans if you don't have one. You could take a look at that. But if you were to go by the actual area that customers are in and you went by 500 or 600 square feet, you would have even a lower parking demand. That's not the way the town does it. The town does it based on 1 space per every 100 square feet of gross floor area. That is the greater number, so that is why we require 34. But we really do feel, and you'll hear from Mr. Muller in great detail about this, that the 28 provided will more than accommodate the site, especially since the T-Mobile, that has 2 employees. And we've checked with them, that has 2 employees all day long. They don't have a lot of employees, and you know they have listen. They may be busy on a Saturday at 12 noon, when this site will be, but still with the conservative estimation that Mr. Muller has done, he still shows that there will be sufficient parking for the property. So there is the parking variance that's needed. We also need a parking variance because we have cars that are parked in the front yard setback. We need does not only come into play for our parking variance, but it comes into play for the special exception that is needed for parking in the front yard setback. If you look at the site plan, there are literally 3 spaces. No, I apologize. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces that are in the front yard setback. It's only the front corners of those spaces that are in there. And frankly, if you go up and down Hempstead Turnpike, you'll see plenty of examples of parking in the front yard setback. The board has granted it hundreds of times along Hempstead Turnpike, as well as other commercial thoroughfares throughout the town. Correct. Towards the corner, correct. We have 1, 2, 3 there, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the along Hempstead Turnpike. We also have spots. Oh yes, I'm sorry. Up in the back, there's a minuscule portion of an 8th spot that's in the front yard setback. Right, the one labeled with next to the number 4. We also have spots that are within the clear site triangle. The one on the easterly side of the parking lot has literally, the front corner within that setback, and then over on the other side we have another 2 in the front in the clear site triangle. That said, all of those are actually far away from the curbing and on Hempstead Turnpike and the curbing on Euston Road South. They will not impact the sight lines, particularly, and if a car is even parked there, typically the front of a car is 30 inches or less, which is permitted in a clear sight triangle. And on Nassau Road Boulevard, on that side, you have a signalized intersection there, so you should not have a problem with that. Mr. Muller can expand on that as well. In addition to that, we have a fence running along the rear property line that extends. It's a 6-foot fence that extends to the property line on Nassau Boulevard and extends to the property line on Euston Houston Road, if the board wanted us to move those back to the front of the building, because those are front yards, then they would theoretically be compliant. If they want us to reduce the height of the fences to 30 inches as they come to the road so that it opens up sight lines, we can do that too. Or we can, like I said, remove. Yeah, well, the one on Houston does, right. The other one, if you wanted us to remove that one entirely, we could remove that one entirely so that it doesn't require a variance at all over by Nassau, because that's adjacent to the Ruby's dry cleaning. On Houston, we would reduce the height of it from the front of the building forward, or from whatever distance the board felt we should do it forward in order to preserve sight lines, reduce it to 30 inches. Pardon? Correct. Right. I think that's the last variance. Yes, that's the relief required. If the board has any questions of me on the operation, on the variances, I'm happy to answer them. I'm happy to call up the clients or the Chipotle representative. Otherwise, I'm going to turn to Mr. Muller for his testimony.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
With, nowadays, the Chipotles, don't they do a lot of ordering by app?
They do.
So where are the car, like, let's say my son is a young guy, he pulls his car up, where is he gonna park?
They're going to park in the available parking
And
spaces.
you allot for that in your presentation?
Yes, yes, Mr. Muller will speak to that.
Because I find that most of the young people that go to Chipotle, they order online and they get there and
They are big, you're absolutely right, and according to Chipotle, they're big fans of the Chipotle lane. They actually tell me that because this doesn't have a Chipotle lane, it will be less active in terms of those kind of orders and pickups, because we've all seen it. How many times have you gone to a Starbucks, seen a drive-through that is 20 minutes long, and people will sit in it, and when they can park and go inside and get their coffee in 3 minutes, nonetheless, there is an element in our society now that likes the drive-through. This will not have that drive-up window, so they are expecting it to be less of a percentage of their order and pickup.
let's say you order by app, so it's, I assume if you get there, it's ready, you go to some area, pick it up, you're in and out.
Yeah.
It's not like a 10-minute situation.
That is true, and Mr. Muller will speak to that. They are in and out. It's a much quicker transaction than going to a restaurant, sitting down for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then coming out. So the turnover is much greater, providing for more available parking spaces. Now, one other thing that Chipotle indicated that they do is that with their Uber drivers, by the time they got operational, and they've been in business for a little while, they know that the Uber drivers are pretty much the same ones. So they kind of have, they don't control them, they don't have a policing ability over them, but they do try to direct them as to where to park and where not to park. I know we had a lot of emails that the board got about concerns about parking on Houston. We can make sure, Chipotle would make sure to alert the Uber drivers that Houston Road South is off limits. Don't park there. Use the spaces on site for your parking and only do that. So that is something that they can do as a requirement of their operation. The T-Mobile is open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Right. The Chipotle will be open from 10:45 a.m. until 11 p.m. and that's Sunday through Saturday every day. Yeah. I believe so. Yes, I believe so. Yeah. So if I may, I'll call upon Mr. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
You called those two curb cuts secondary. What did you mean by that?
Well, I phrased them as secondary because most of your traffic is coming off of Hempstead Turnpike. The amount of pass-by traffic, and Mr. Muller can testify to this, is far greater on Hempstead Turnpike than there will be on the two side roads. So consequently, that will be
Oh, they're the two that you're talking about. But, so the other two that, are you going to close those other two
Oh, yes.
completely? Okay.
Oh,
All right,
yes.
I misunderstood.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, to be clear, the site presently has 5 curb
Yeah,
cuts.
no.
2 of them are being eliminated. The one on the north end of the property
Yes.
on Nassau
Yes.
and the one on the east end of the property on Hempstead Turnpike.
They were the ones I thought you were calling
No,
secondary.
not at all. They are being fully closed.
Okay.
Mr. Mueller has testified before this board on numerous occasions. He is a transportation engineer and has been qualified by this board many, many times to give expert opinion testimony in connection with traffic and parking. I would ask that he be permitted to do so again.
Mr. Mueller, since the last time you appeared before this board, have there been any changes to your qualifications?
There have not been.
Okay, so we'll accept Mr. Muller's expert testimony as to traffic and parking. Go ahead, Mr. Mueller.
For the record, Wayne Muller, R&M Engineering, offices at 50 Elm Street, Huntington, New York. Our firm has prepared a traffic and parking analysis, which was previously submitted to the board dated July 2nd, 2025. Additional copies have been provided to the board this afternoon. As Mr. Benesso so eloquently put in his testimony, it is proposed to put or construct a 1,895 square foot Chipotle on the subject property. The building will contain 20 seats. The specifics of the proposed restaurant are indicated on the site plan prepared by Sky Testing, Civil Engineering, most recently revised October 3rd, 2024. And as Mr. Benesso indicated, we are here before the board this afternoon seeking relief from the Town of Hempstead BZO Section 319 as it relates to the parking requirements of the proposed restaurant. As indicated on the plans and as indicated on page 1 of my report, using the statistics for the building area that's proposed on the project, a total of 34 parking spaces are required. However, if we were to use the alternative requirement for seating, a total of 22 spaces would be required. However, the BZO indicates that the higher of the two calculations are relevant in this instance, and therefore we are seeking relief from the ordinance for 6 parking spaces. As part of our analysis, we performed observations on the subject property on Saturday, May 17th, 2025, and again on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, between the hours of 11 a.m. and 8 p.m., those corresponding to the peak periods of both the existing T-Mobile facility and the proposed Chipotle. As indicated on page 2 of my report, on Saturday, May 17th at 4:30 p.m., we observed a maximum of 10 vehicles parked on the subject property. And again, on Tuesday, May 20th at 6:30 p.m., we observed 10 vehicles parked. So the maximum number of vehicles parked on the property that we observed was 10. Currently, the property contains 15 parking spaces. As shown on the plans, we are proposed to increase the number of parking spaces on the property to 28. To determine the level of demand associated with the proposed Chipotle, we consulted the parking generation statistics contained within the Institute of Transportation Engineers Parking Generation Manual, the 6th edition, which is the latest edition, for a fast casual restaurant, which is what Chipotle is. As indicated in our report, our analysis indicated that the peak weekday demand would occur on between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock on the site, at which we would anticipate a total of 24 vehicles parked, translating to an 86% occupancy with 4 vacant parking spaces. Similarly, the analysis indicated that on Saturday, the peak would occur at 6 p.m., where there would again be 24 vehicles parked, translating to an 86% occupancy and 4 vacant parking spaces.
Mr. Mueller, when you use the ITE factoring for the proposed location, since it's the 34 is a combination, did you also apply it to the T-Mobile, or did you take their actual, how did you mesh the two?
We use the actual observations that we performed at T-Mobile.
So you only were able to calculate this number using ITE on the days you had the actual parking at T-Mobile?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And the activity at T-Mobile, as indicated in our report on Table 2, it fluctuates depending on the time of day. But the maximum we saw associated with T-Mobile was 10. And that occurred on a weekday at 5 o'clock and then again on Saturday at 6.
So if you came to 28 and your max on T-Mobile was 10, you determined the restaurant needs 18?
14. Because the 10, again, the peak hour of the restaurant is in the afternoon when there's less activity. Specifically on a weekday, it's at the lunchtime hours when there's less activity associated with T-Mobile and more with the restaurant. And then T-Mobile, their activity on a weekday occurred like right around 5 or 6 o'clock when people are going home from work.
But you were always keeping T-Mobile at a 10, right? You didn't vary it?
We
with the-
varied it depending on what we saw. We performed an analysis of the individual activity during the various different hours of the day.
Because the only two I have, at least in this part of the report, are the two you did on Saturday and the one on Tuesday, which I get is a cross-section.
Right.
But that was always 10.
Correct.
So
At other
then-
times, that's the maximum.
So
At
you
other-
did-
okay, at other times during the day, it was slightly less or a lot less. So for instance, on a weekday at 11 o'clock in the morning, T-Mobile generated 5 cars. And then that number jumped up to...
So you varied it according to whatever you had data on as actual for T-Mobile?
That's correct.
And then you ITE the rest of it?
That's absolutely correct. And one thing that's important, as Mr. Benesso has indicated, and based on my discussions with Starbucks and then even a little research on the internet, excuse me, Chipotle, I'm sorry. Chipotle, does a lot of the activity associated with the Chipotle is app-driven and/or Uber Eats or what's the other? DoorDash, Grubhub.
Say that again?
Grubhub, Uber Eats. A lot of it's app-driven in so much as that, I know my daughter does this all the time, she'll pull it up on her phone, get the food delivered from whatever service is available.
Only twice the cost.
And therefore, a lot of times, it's just somebody going to the Chipotle, running in, picking up an order that's already made, and then running out. Based on my discussions with the representative of Starbucks, approximately 60 to 70% of Starbucks activity on Long Island is app-driven.
You
and
still
that-
mean Starbucks or you mean Chipotle?
I'm sorry, Chipotle.
Oh, because Starbucks is right next door, so I
know,
really did
I
not know.
I'm sorry. Of Chipotle is app-driven, meaning that it lends itself well, the Chipotle, to that type of activity. However, myself, I personally like to go to Chipotle and watch them make my meal as I go through the line, because in my opinion, I think the app, when you order on the app, you don't get the way that it looks when you go there in person. But that's just my own feeling. And as indicated in my report, we do believe that there's adequate parking. The next component of my report, we generated the quantity of traffic that we would anticipate Chipotle to generate during the various different peak hours, and we superimposed that data onto the existing roadway network based on the modifications to the site plan and the site access as discussed by Mr. Benesso in his presentation. And what we found was that by adding the traffic generated by Chipotle to the roadway network, we would not anticipate any significant changes to traffic conditions. As Mr. Benesso indicated, and based on our experience, a large percentage of the traffic generated by Chipotle is pass-by in nature, meaning those vehicles are already on the roadway network surrounding the property. The subject property abuts to one major roadway, which is Hempstead Turnpike, and one major Nassau County roadway, north-south in this area, which is Nassau Boulevard. So a lot of the traffic that's generated by this use will already be in the traffic streams passing the site on either Hempstead Turnpike and/or Nassau Boulevard. So therefore, based on the analyses that we prepared, my personal experience with Chipotle, it is my professional opinion that by granting the relief required today before the board would not create any undue traffic congestion or hazard, and that there is adequate parking provided on the property to accommodate the demand. As indicated by Mr. Benesso, relief is also sought from the two clear site triangles, and if we were to focus on the, I guess that would be the southeast corner of the property, the portion that fronts Nassau Boulevard and Hempstead Turnpike, there's one parking space within that area that impedes or impinges on the clear site triangle. As Mr. Benesso indicated, and as I agree, We do not believe that that's minor encroachment into the site triangle, will have any significant impacts to the vehicles or the driver's abilities to see the traffic on both Hempstead Turnpike and or Nassau Boulevard, because there's a signalized intersection there. There is a no turn on red restriction for vehicles traveling southbound on Nassau Boulevard, so all the vehicles would be stopped. We do not believe that that would create any significant issues. And again, the few spaces on the other side of the property, on the southwest corner of the property, which encroach onto the site distance triangle. Again, as you can see from the site plan that's before the board, which has an aerial photograph superimposed underneath it, you can see the distance between the curb line on Hempstead Turnpike and the location of those parking spaces. Vehicles traveling south on Houston Road approaching Hempstead Turnpike will in no way, shape, or form be, their sight, lines of sight will in no way, shape, or form be limited due to the minor encroachment within the site distance triangle. As Mr. Benesso indicated, which I believe is a key component of this project, is that 2 curb cuts will be eliminated as part of the application. The northernmost one on Nassau Boulevard, which is just below the Ruby's Dry Cleaners, and then again the first curb cut, which is located slightly west of the intersection of Nassau Boulevard and Hempstead Turnpike, and that just eliminates conflict points. I believe the site has been designed properly to provide adequate flow in and out of the site, and those components further my opinion that the granting of the relief required to facilitate the construction of the small Chipotle will not have a significant impact on traffic.
So if I'm reading this correctly, the only place, I'm looking at the county's thing, the only place where there's fencing forward of the dwelling are on that rear line, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And we have a lot of email messages relating to this curb cut on Houston and the traffic there. Is there a way, and I understand that because, you know, in all these cases, it's a very similar situation. The residential folks don't want a curb cut situation that's pushing people onto the side streets. I know you know that, Mr. Vanessa, Mr. Muller, done it forever. So is there a scenario where we could maybe eliminate that curb cut, block it off entirely, and leave one of the other ones open that you were proposing to close? Like maybe leave 2 on Hempstead Turnpike and the 1 on Nassau?
That is something that Chipotle will not accept. They can put some limitations on that curb cut, but they would not be willing to accept it to be closed entirely. And,
Why?
Well, for one thing, I know the people on Houston who emailed said they're concerned about traffic on Houston, but listen, there are any number of people who live north of this property who would want to be able to access south on Houston.
Well, they could just go over to Nassau.
Having an entrance only would allow them. I'm sorry. Having no curb cut on there would force them to either go around somehow and get onto Nassau, or come out to Hempstead Turnpike in some way, shape.
Yeah, they just go up to Hempstead Turnpike.
Well, you can't make a right,
Oh, yeah, you
a
can't.
left. So they'd have to,
So they
have
go
to
the
go
other way.
around somehow, which would then put traffic going around behind, what's that street? Is it Ninth? What's that?
Well, right now, you're proposing in and out on that street.
Yes, we are proposing in and out on that street, but the fact of the matter is, there's really no need for people to go north on that street. If they want to head north, they could either, they could
Well, I gotta believe if someone wants to go north and they pull
well,
out
if they
there-
want to go north on Houston, that's a different story.
Of course.
For that reason. But there is adequate access via other roadways that ultimately go north, and for anybody who's wanting to go west on Hempstead Turnpike, they can either make the left out of there, they can make the right out of Nassau Boulevard, or they can go out the front of the property.
Well, what do you mean that's something Chipotle won't accept?
I mean, hold on a second. I'm just talking to the representative from Chipotle. Would the board prefer that we put up signage signage that indicates no right turns on Houston
I mean,
Road
to be
South?
honest with you, I'm not sure people pay attention to that, and, you know,
How about a directioned curb cut, like a pork chop curb cut that would force cars to make a left out of the property?
I never heard it called that, but it's a perfect description.
Yeah, no, that's a common phrase for them, a pork chop curb cut. It's a directioned curb cut that actually turns the car to the left as a curb that can address that.
Mr. Mueller?
Yeah,
I have a question.
The one thing that Chipotle will not accept is to close that curb cut entirely.
Okay. I just want to say, I was there yesterday to observe the site around 4:40, and I went out around, and on Houston, it is extremely crowded. There's parking on both sides. It's almost like one car can only get down there if you're going north. So, and it goes into a residential area. There was no place to park, and right as soon as you come out, there's a no parking sign anyway. So it just seems very crowded over there. So and also the parking lot was very crowded. There was only 2 spots available just for T-Mobile when I was there.
T-Mobile?
Yep.
It may have been parking from other people in the area.
Well, then that's a problem though, because,
Well, that'll end
Yeah.
when it becomes a Chipotle.
I mean, I took pictures and everything. It was 4:40 yesterday. Also, just a question on Nassau Boulevard. There's a sign, you can only make a right out of the parking lot onto Nassau Boulevard, correct?
I'm sorry, I apologize.
It's okay.
Mr. Mueller?
Coming out of the parking lot, you can only make a right onto Nassau Boulevard?
Correct.
Correct. So if people are going down Nassau Boulevard, how would they get into this? They would have to go.
Oh, no, they can turn in.
Yeah,
You could
could
turn
make a
in.
right in.
You can make a right in or a right out.
Okay,
Right out.
but if you're going down, if you're going north on Nassau, you would not be able to make a left
No,
going
it's
into. You'd
it's
have
3
to-
lanes of traffic.
Correct.
No, we would in fact be willing to put signage there, no left turns in on there. And frankly, anybody who is going north has just come off of Hempstead Turnpike.
Correct,
So
they'd
they
have to
either
go
could go
straight.
straight and get in that way,
Okay.
or if they were coming from the south, they could make a left
Yes.
and get in that way.
There is a sign across the street that says no left turn, you know, where the Starbucks is, so that people on Nassau Boulevard would be able to see that. But I don't know, Houston, it was just extremely crowded. It's just one lane, basically, one car could fit down with people on both sides. Okay.
So my question, Mr. Mueller, is this on your chart, page 1, it says 1 stall per 4 employees equal 4 employees dash 4 equal 1 stall. Mr. Vanessa said there's 8 employees
Yes.
in the restaurant and 2 employees in T-Mobile. Shouldn't that be more than 1 stall in your chart?
Well, no, well, the T-Mobile is calculated at a rate of 1 per 200. It's not, it doesn't matter the number of employees for retail. But I understand what you're saying. The Chipotle indicated that they have as many as 8. So yes, that would theoretically, 1 parking space, correct. So that would raise it to 35 instead of 34. But, well, this site plan was submitted before the Chipotle information was provided to us. So yes, that is correct. It should be 35. No, when the application was prepared and filed, they did not have, oh. Oh, well, he took it off the site plan. He took it off the site plan. It's 1 space off. Correct.
All right, we'll get that corrected.
Well, the 2 times that you cite for your Saturday, May 17th at 4:30, Tuesday, May 20th at 6:30, it's not the peak times. You said the peak times were during lunch, 11:30 to 1. Have, you know, what,
Those are the peak times of the activity that we observed at the current T-Mobile facility. So, no, I understand. So at 4:30 PM, when we were out there on Saturday, pretty much all day, from 11 in the morning to 8 at night, the maximum number of vehicles that we saw parked on the property occurred at 4:30 PM, and it was 10 vehicles.
That
So-
doesn't mean that they were out there for only that period of time. They were out there all day counting cars.
Correct, 11 to 8. And then again, on Saturday, we did the same, on Tuesday, we did the same hours, and we saw 10 vehicles parked at 6:30 in the evening. So that's associated with T-Mobile, just to give the board an idea of what the level of activity on the existing property is that we observed.
Not right now, but if the Chipotle is granted a variance and there's not, and everybody's there at a peak time, what's going to happen? And maybe there's a delivery coming. I mean,
But again, the deliveries are going to occur before the store opens, before 10:45 in the morning. It's not in their best interest to have deliveries occur during the lunchtime hour, because then it wouldn't impede their business. And again,
I have a question, Mr. Mueller. So, Mr. Manesso, you said they will not accept closing that curb cut, but then we downplay how much traffic might be using it because we don't want it to overflow. But if it's that critical to the success of the business, I'm missing something here. Because on one hand, we think of that as just a little extra secondary part, insert and exit, but it seems that it's make or break for the success of the business. I mean, I'm not understanding. Name and that, did she get?
Maiden Lane, Patchogue, New York, 11772.
So the question was raised about the need for the Houston Road South.
Correct, yeah. So just, I mean, like any quick service restaurant, I'm a design manager, but I don't make decisions all the way up the chain. We try to aim for a prototypical Chipotlane project everywhere we develop. Long Island is a very tough market for us to find the property for that. So we've been working on this project from kind of the initial C lane, which is what we call it, to where we sit now. My chief development officer actually also sat, which is very unusual because he's from Newport Beach, California, and he came all the way out here to sit at that intersection. His experience, which is 30 plus years with QSR from Wendy's to Starbucks, I'm also a former Starbucks partner myself, and I understand that drive through there can be, yeah, well, or they're fans, I don't know. Probably all still shop there, but his view was that we needed the 3 points on, not the north, obviously, because we are, but on our west, east, and our main entrance, which will be, I mean, I'm not a traffic engineer, but I would imagine we're probably looking at 90% of the traffic is going to be coming through the turnpike into the parking lot.
I've been doing this for a little
They
while.
view that as like a pain point, because if someone's going to go from, they're turning right into our restaurant. If they're going to turn left to T-Mobile and park there and frequent the T-Mobile, which I also understand people do spend quite a bit of time in T-Mobile. It's not like us where
Yeah.
it's a mobile pickup shelf
I
and you're
gotcha.
in and you're out. So it's really about ease of the site for him, and the fact that we're tenanted to the left by T-Mobile, that eases that problem for the site on the right, if that
I
makes
know what
sense.
you're saying. But, I mean, to me, just knee-jerk, I would feel like the Nassau and 2 on Hempstead would really reduce the likelihood that anyone would leave there and go up and down Houston, because, like Ms. Perry said, it's already crowded with parking on both sides, and Mr. Manesso's been doing this forever, and anytime we get this first 100 feet of business use next to residential, people get, it's always a sticking point with trying to find every way we can to keep them not only from traveling on that unnecessarily, but also when the lot's full, the issue is people get home from work and the cars are all in front of them. I get it's a public street.
Yeah.
But by the same token, to the extent we can keep the business in the business and the residential in the residential, we try to. That's why, to me, the 2 on, in and out on the turnpike with a side on NASA just seems, but again, I don't manage business
I
car
think
flow.
we did also explore an option where we had the 2 openings facing on the turnpike. That's going to put us in a more compromised position for parking than we are right now with this plan.
Well, you would just put parking, you would just swap the curb cut back to where it exists already, the 2 on NASA, And you put a few spots presumably, you configure it to add whatever spots you lose, say 3 spots maybe? I mean, I'm no expert on configuring parking lots, but I assume experts could.
Yeah.
Well, if we were to, under that scenario, put the curb cut back on Hempstead Turnpike, we would lose 4 spots on Hempstead Turnpike. It's kind of shown on the plan. They have the driveway existing outline where it's going to be removed. We would not be able to pick up those 4 spots on the Houston Road side, just because of the property's not very deep in that area.
How many would you be able to get over there, 1 or 2?
We'd get 1.
Okay, so we'd have to grant a variance of 3 extra, I get it.
But then we believe that we would be coming too close to the part where the lot would be 100% full. I believe in what Mr. Bonesso said would probably be a very good compromise situation where those 4 parking stalls that are perpendicular to the residential property to the north be slid slightly to the north, and then we created a pork chop or a severely
Oh,
angled
so you
driveway.
move the curb cut toward the turnpike?
We would leave the curb cut exactly where it is. If I could approach and just show you.
Yeah,
that
go
would be-
ahead, because otherwise, I don't know where you put those spots if you don't move the curb cut. Oh, so, I thought you meant you would slide these that way, in which case I thought you would.
Move these this way, up to the setback. Right, so this is the setback.
Okay,
Right,
so
and
boom,
then-
boom, boom, whatever.
And then angle the driveway, really severely angle. So that it would be, 6 inch would be up curb, so you'd really have to draw, you'd really putz your car up driving over that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, so
You know.
we would, yeah. You know, like, so we would hang.
All right. You want to make the record of what we're, Mr. Bonesso, you want to make the record of what we spoke about up here? Go ahead.
For the record, we just described, using the site plan, we described how the 4 parking spaces in the northwest corner would be moved slightly to the north in order to provide room to implement a directioned curb cut to force vehicles to make a left-out only onto Eustis Road South. We would be prepared to implement that requirement on that curb cut.
Okay, noted.
Unless there are any other questions or comments, that's our direct presentation. If there's anyone who's
Do you want to
speak-
review these, or have you already?
I have reviewed them. I'll address them in my closing.
Okay, so there are 5 people signed in favor, 1 not noted, and 1 who is not in favor of the application. So do you want anyone else to speak on your
No.
behalf right now? No. Okay, so Catherine Bruckhauser? Okay, why don't you go ahead and get sworn in, and then let's hear from you. Make sure her mic is on.
Brookhauser, Catherine Brookhauser.
Her address.
Your address?
31.
Madison Avenue, Franklin Square, New York. Been a resident there for 60 years. We moved there when I was 2. Thank you.
Now I know how old you
I have to say, first of all, having met all of these gentlemen, I love Chipotle. I would love to see a Chipotle in Franklin Square. I could walk there. It would solve all your problems. No, I've loved Chipotle since the day they opened. Just watch, because they've changed the formulations a little bit over the years, and I've noticed, and I'm sure other people have also, it's not as good as it was the day they opened. It's still good. What Mr. Mueller was saying about you get to see your food being prepared is a lot of fun, and I love Chipotle. Well, fix that. Geez, fix that. I also just want to quickly say a special thank you to the board for saving the old growth trees in Franklin Square recently. The day before the construction guys were coming, we got a notice, and I almost died thinking, oh, they're going to repave the road, my trees are going. But somehow you guys decided to save the old growth trees, and I applaud that. So thank you,
Yes,
please,
it's
very
the
much.
the people above our pay grade who did that, but thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I want to comment quickly to what you guys were talking about, because now that I've listened to you, I have other concerns. There is going to be no way to head north other than Euston Road, because coming out from Hempstead Turnpike, you're going to have to head down Euston Road to go north. Coming onto Nassau Boulevard, you can't head north, so they're going to have to take Euston Road. So Euston Road is a huge issue. And the reason all of this is a huge issue, I'll just say very quickly, last Saturday, I drove around for 16 minutes trying to park within 3 blocks of my home. And what I realized is the church that just expanded and was allowed a parking variance had every single spot within a 3-block radius, and I'm within 3 blocks of the new church, not the new church, the old church, which was allowed to, I don't know, triple in size or whatever it is. So the parking, I saw it with my own eyes. I'm driving up and down, and there's not one single spot open because something was going on at the church. I am very much opposed to any parking variances in the town of Hempstead. Nassau County, I'd like to speak to them too, but let's just, we're here. The other issue, of course, is the churches that are not paying taxes.
Well, just so you know, the churches under federal law get special deference, and it's almost impossible for us to deny a church a parking variance. Believe me, we do the count too, and we're sort of like, you need 68 spots and you have 2? But we can't, our hands are tied. Federal law governs
We
that.
got to figure out how to fix this because it's destroying our towns. So the parking, way above all our pay grades, you guys need to seriously look at which egresses and entrances you're going to, because if you turn that into a pork chop, then nobody can head north.
Except
So
on,
they're going to head up Wellington, or they're going to do crazy stuff to try to head north. So you're definitely going to need to go back to the drawing board.
You can only turn right
on
here.
the egresses and the entrances and the exits,
You can only turn
because
right
now
here,
that I'm
but
actually
everyone's
thinking
gonna
about
go
it, it's a mess.
but that leads me to think that given what you said, if you go out on Nassau, you turn right, then you're gonna turn right on the turnpike, and then you're gonna go up Houston. That makes it seem like even if that curb cut were closed, it's still a problem.
Yeah, yes. And then that's our problem. And like I said, I love Chipotle, would love to see a Chipotle. The other thing I was going to suggest, and the gentlemen were telling me that's impossible because T-Mobile said no, I've shopped in that T-Mobile. They've got all this square footage that they don't use. So I mean, drop their rent a little bit, get them, the T-Mobile could be half the size and still accommodate all their customers, because they're right. There's a lot of time where there's nobody in that T-Mobile,
But
and even when it is busy, you're 12 feet away from the nearest other customer.
Right, but even if T-Mobile took less space, I doubt that would lead to tearing down a portion of the building for parking. I mean, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, but it's gotta free up some space for something. If you took away half of that T-Mobile, but I mean, they already said they don't want to do that. Now, Mr. Mueller, is it? Mueller. When you did when you counted cars, what date was that?
It's in my, I said it
Could you,
twice.
was it June,
Yeah, but
July?
just tell her.
I already testified to that.
I know, but can you, it's May, it was May, one of them was May, go ahead,
Saturday, May 17th, 2025, Tuesday,
All
May
right.
at
20th,
4:30 PM.
All right, so what we're not considering is all the kids from Cary High School who are gonna drive to the Chipotle. You better add about another 6 parking spaces just for those kids, and they're all gonna come down Houston.
What has that got to do with the dates of analysis? I'm sorry.
I
don't-
was
I don't-
thinking that, you know, I was thinking wrong. Because had the Chipotle been open and it was a school day and Cary High School was in session, you would have seen more cars between 11 and 1. All right, so you have to think about that too. Nobody mentioned Cary High School. You're gonna get a lot of business from Cary High School, and a lot of the kids are gonna drive. All right? All right, the reason I initially wanted to come here was the obstruction, the 6-foot fence that's going to obstruct the line of sight. My question, and I guess I could just ask you straight off, I would love to see the north fence
That's all, the only places proposed.
repaired. That's not what it says on the yellow sign. The yellow sign says a 6-foot fence on Houston and, right?
Mr. Vanessa,
Yeah,
It's
wait,
only on the
Let me
new-
just read it, and you tell me if I'm wrong.
is it any,
The site plan calls for a proposed 6-foot-high vinyl fence along the entire northerly property line.
anywhere else?
No.
Only the north?
Only the
Okay, okay, because it said on the sign, so forget about that, I was wrong, all right. Because it said something about Houston and Nassau Boulevard.
No, not along there.
All right, the garbage in the front, shouldn't the garbage be in the back? And I mean, you've got that spot in the back next to the dry cleaners, which would be a great place for garbage. I mean, who wants to see garbage in the front?
Well, the problem is I don't think there's space back there, is there, Mr. Vanessa?
There would be no way to get to the garbage. The truck would have to go back behind, and
Right.
plus that would be the actions, that would be basically be putting the pickup of sanitation right in the backyard of the house on
What-
Eustis,
No, but
No,
she's
I-
saying by the dry cleaner.
By the dry cleaner.
by the dry cleaner.
You were gonna close that egress anyway.
Yeah,
But once the building is there,
right, the building is right there. It's only a 10-foot space. I don't know if that's sufficient room for a dumpster a truck to pick it up.
All right,
Plus, there's a light that is proposed there.
Wait, this is not
Or rather, an existing light pole that is there to remain.
because they're going to build some more building, right?
Yeah, no, I understand, it's just aesthetically, I mean, if I could eliminate the dumpster in front of the Starbucks,
Agreed.
I would blink my eyes and that would be gone.
But believe me, my first reaction was put that back, but the only place in the rear, further back, puts it next to a residential house, and those, when the trucks come, it sounds like nothing, but, when it's all
But
the,
what's the difference between putting it by the house as opposed to by the,
because
Well, for
there's
one-
not the same space.
For one thing, it's certainly further away from the residents. Secondly, when the activity occurs in the front to pick it up, it occurs closer to the turnpike where there's already ambient noise as opposed to right next to the residential property. And additionally, there were some concerns expressed in the initial emails that I saw about potential rodents, potential smells, and this moves it that much further away. Not that Chipotle has those issues, they
No,
take
but
very good
it's
care of
always
their
with
sites, and
restaurants.
they
It's always
don't
an
do that.
issue.
But this is what typically people think of when there's a dumpster associated with a quote-unquote wet use, a restaurant use.
Right.
That there are going to be rats, that there's going to be odors and the like. So we move it as far away from that as we can and still keep it in an area that it works. And
In a
we
masonry-
enclose it in a masonry enclosure and can landscape all around it so that
That would
it
be
is
nice.
not looking like a pair of dumpsters, but rather it is an enclosed structure with landscaping.
All right, and then my only other concern was that the landscaping is self-watering, because I'm assuming it's going to be, because everything out there is dying because it's not being watered properly, so it's
Yeah, well,
ridiculous.
the site presently has no landscaping whatsoever.
Right,
So they would have to, what landscaping they would provide, and we would, again, be willing to provide the board with a landscape plan, and it'll be irrigated.
Just, Mr. Vanessa, along those lines, just keep it in mind, because given the proximity and the angle of the road, too much landscaping between the dumpster, even though I think would look great, and the curb might be a visibility issue for the people pulling
Yeah,
out.
we would be careful about that. We could do, low
That's
shrubs
just so
in front of it,
dangerous.
and then do higher shrubs to the sides.
Well, the landscaping doesn't have to be higher than the container. I mean,
Right, but still, we don't want it in the line of sight if someone's
Yeah,
pulling
the
out.
concern is the line of sight from a person sitting in a car. They usually don't like to have something higher than 30 inches. So
Yeah.
in the front of, or I should say in the back of the enclosure, we could do lower shrubs, and then on the sides, we could do higher shrubs, whatever the board wants.
Right.
But just like I said, with the minor stuff that I was coming here for, listening to you guys, you've got much bigger problems. Because even, when you think about it, all right, if I may, if you're driving east on Hempstead Turnpike, you can't use the Hempstead Turnpike entrances because you're going across a double yellow.
Correct.
So you have to go into Houston, all right? Which goes back to your pork chop, but that means the pork chop is gonna be busy in both directions, which I guess you can make a double wide pork chop.
She's right, that's the only place to go. You're not incorrect, that Houston becomes from all the exits, except the one with the pork chop, Houston's the northbound lane, because everywhere you go, and also if you're going east, you have to turn on Houston, and then, thankfully there you turn in, but,
And from Nassau Boulevard, you can only head south.
correct.
You can't go north, so different pay grades.
Can I ask you a question? Do you live in the neighborhood?
31 Madison Avenue.
What is that from? How far
She
is
said
that
a couple
from?
blocks.
It's 0.7 miles away.
So are you familiar with the parking lot there? Are you familiar with?
Usually empty.
That's what he said in his report. It's usually empty.
The T-Mobile is usually empty.
So what makes you think it's going to become different when
'Cause Chipotle.
they're doing this? Like,
Well, all right, he said 10 cars,
For that.
all right? You gotta add the carry kids. Just add the carry kids and then you know what you're really up against.
And what? Oh, the kid.
No, what I'm picturing is, I'm actually starting to think like a highway plan, because I was listening to these gentlemen, and I was listening to your questions and stuff, and okay, there was one other thing I was gonna say, and I forgot to say because we got involved in that. You gotta remember that intersection is the gateway to 4 different communities. That intersection, if you're heading south or east, you're going into West Hempstead, you're heading north, that's that beautiful section of Garden City South that we definitely don't want to mess with, because it's one of the prettiest sections, in the small section. And then if you're heading west, you're going into Franklin Square. So that intersection is what people see when they enter West Hempstead, Franklin Square, Garden City South. It's the picture that they get in their brain of what
I think we get it. Mr. Vanessa, quick question, or Mr. Mueller. So, right now, obviously this plan is to put a lot more parking spots. How many parking spots are in the lot now?
15,
Okay, so they had more space but just didn't create them, or?
correct.
Correct. Right now, 15 striped parking spaces. The rest of the site is asphalt, but it's not parked.
Mr. Mueller, I would like to hear you enlighten us. She raised a good point about whichever way you're coming out of this place now, you gotta go north on Houston, basically, unless you go further east or west. But
Correct.
basically, every exit sends you, with the exception of the one on Houston that makes you turn left, every other exit to go north, you gotta go out and turn up Houston unless you go further in east or west, but
Well, you could, to go back north on Nassau Boulevard, you could come out the Houston driveway, make a left,
wait, come out of Houston, make a left.
right? And then now you're facing south on Hempstead Turnpike, you can make a left and go up back into Hempstead Turnpike. So you're allowed to make a left out of that
Yeah,
that
I
roadway.
understand. But
I
all the
mean,
rest
I
of them,
believe personally that the bulk of the traffic for this facility is going to be directional. It's going to be coming from southbound Nassau Boulevard and westbound Hempstead Turnpike. That's the bulk of it. And those volumes, as the woman had indicated, you know, they're there. The Hempstead Turnpike is Hempstead Turnpike. It's a major east-west arterial in Nassau County and then also in Suffolk County. So the people who are coming in off of Hempstead Turnpike, they're not going to meander through the neighborhood. The people who are going to use the Houston driveway are going to live up in that area, and they're going to come down and they're going to go back to their homes. And as far as the students from the high school, again, they would come to the facility. In all likelihood, they're going to order whatever they want on the app. They're going to run in, get their food, they're going to get it and go back.
what direction is the high school
The
from?
high school's north and west. So based on my review of Google Maps really quickly,
means they're gonna
they
go
would,
out.
in all likelihood, the students would come down Caroline Avenue, which is about 4 blocks to the west. 1, 2, 3 blocks to the west. There's a signal at the intersection of Hempstead Turnpike and Caroline. They'd come down Caroline, come into the facility.
Wait, which way are they coming into the
They're,
facility?
they're coming down Caroline south.
Got that part.
There's a signal. They're
Right.
going to make a left at the signal. They're going to go onto Hempstead Turnpike.
Right.
They're going to get into the left turn lane on Hempstead Turnpike and make a left in the driveway.
Into the driveway on Hempstead or into one of the others?
On Hempstead.
On Hempstead. Or they could make a left into Houston and then make a right into the parking lot.
Wait, can you turn left into those curb cuts off Hempstead Turnpike?
Absolutely.
Thought you said there was a double yellow
Well,
line or
you
something.
could cross a double yellow line. A double yellow line is meant to separate two opposing flows of traffic. It's to prevent head-on collisions.
Wait, you're saying that I can turn across a double yellow line?
You do it all the time.
I'm not saying whether I do it, am I allowed to?
Absolutely. Yes, totally allowed.
Huh.
Again, a double yellow line is used to separate two directions of traffic. So if you're going in one direction and not.
Well, sometimes a single one does too,
Correct.
if it's yellow, as long as
Right,
it's
but
yellow.
single lines, I believe you could pass people on a single line. Double yellow
I'm gonna
lines are
look that
really
up.
not so vehicles don't pass one another. On rural highways, you see a lot of times there'd be just
Which is
skip
this?
lines in the middle of the road, and that's to allow vehicles to pass one another on rural roadways. That used to exist on a lot of sections of roadways on
Gotcha.
state and county highways on Long Island until the traffic
Thank you,
volumes
Patrick.
got to a certain level where passing of other vehicles became significantly dangerous. So a lot of the major roads now have double yellow lines, and you can cross a double yellow, no problem.
Huh, interesting.
So they'd come in off of Caroline, they'd make a left onto Hempstead Turnpike, they'd go into the property, they'd grab their food via the app, they'd come back out onto Hempstead Turnpike, they'd make a right, go up to Caroline, make a right, and go back to the high school. In my opinion, there wouldn't be enough time for school children or students to come, sit, have lunch, and then go back. They're gonna
Yeah, I
grab
don't
it
think
quick.
that was an issue, really.
Well, she kind of made it seem like that's going to be one of the customer bases for this facility.
Right, but I didn't think the implication was they're gonna hang around there. It was
But I
all
think
the app and,
from a safety perspective, this site is on the right side of the roadway for those students to come from the high school because they're going to come into the parking lot. They're going to make a right turnout, which is one of the safest movements you can make. They're going to go to Caroline at the signal, make a right turn, and go back to the high school. I don't believe that's an issue.
Any other questions for Mr. Muller or comments?
I have none at this time. Any other board members? Okay. And is there anyone else here who would like to be heard? I don't believe so, but there was someone who didn't specify, who signed in.
No, he's with us.
Okay, let me just make sure. That was Madison. Okay, great, thank you. All right, are there any?
Go ahead, Mr. Pellegrini. I was just going to close, but go ahead.
The Nassau County Planning Commission held your decision in abeyance.
Yeah, I don't know why. I've provided them with with the traffic study. I've told Mr. Katz, who coordinates them, that we're available to discuss this with the Planning Commission.
I mean, the whole reason it's double is so you
so-
don't turn across it.
I can't speak to why they haven't made a recommendation.
Their resolution is dated 7/17/25, and did you see that resolution?
No, I was under the impression that they had not made one.
They did
May I-
not make one. Well, they need more information.
Yeah, and I provided it to them well in advance of that. What's the date on it?
7/17/25.
Yeah, I have not seen that, and I provided them with a copy of our plan the day we submitted it to the board itself.
Mr. Owens is going to give you a copy. He'll give you
Okay.
that. If you want to take a picture of your cell phone. so
No,
that
I'll get a copy of
We can
my
return
own.
it to the file. That's the reason.
Yeah, no,
why.
that's all right. You can have it, but no, I can assure you that the Planning Commission has a copy of our traffic report.
Perhaps it wasn't timely. I don't know.
Well, we gave it to them the same day that we filed it with the
Okay.
board, which was well before July 17th.
I understand.
And I was at the July 17th meeting, and it never came up.
You should have worn your Chipotle shirt.
Yeah, just briefly, thank you. I know we've taken a lot of time. It's interesting, but the speaker, the neighbor, kind of made the point that you brought up, Ms. D'Amato, that if somebody wants to go north, they're going to go up Houston Road, whether we close that curb cut or not. We are still prepared to put limits on that curb cut, but whether we close it or not, if somebody's leaving this site and wants to go north, that is an option for them. So the question is does that warrant denying the application? Because that's what you're really coming down to if that's the case, because that is something that is going to happen no matter what. If for any user of this property, if you put another use on this property, somebody who wants to exit. Well, it's expanded the use, but some other expanded use is going to go here if this doesn't. I mean, the site is underutilized right now. It's only got, it's got the one building, and they can accommodate more. The question is, and this goes to the comment that this is an important corner. It's an important corner for the people entering the area. Well, the site right now is a pretty plain site. There's no landscaping whatsoever. This will represent a significant improvement to the site in terms of its appearance. It'll result in new landscaping, and yes, will it generate a higher traffic demand? Yes, it will. But we believe, and certainly the data and the expert opinion is that the 28 parking spaces will adequately accommodate the actual demand of the site based upon not only ITE but actual observations at the property. We, like I said, we're prepared to do some limitation on that curb cut, but not necessarily, not that it's necessarily going to prohibit cars from heading north, because that is going to happen whether you have a curb cut there or not. But if the board wants it, we'll do that, and we'll also do what we indicated with regard to the fencing along the northerly property line. So all that having been said, thank you for
Mueller,
your time.
one last thing. So on a Saturday at noon, when everyone who's off work for the weekend wants to get their phone, whatever, done, and it's the height, the peak of Chipotle, what did you determine the use would between what is there now or whatever in the ITE
24 cars.
projection.
So Saturday at noon, there were 3 vehicles associated with T-Mobile parked on the property. And
Wait.
So the peak hour of T-Mobile, as I indicated, occurred at 6 PM on Saturday. It's much later, for whatever reason, it was much later in the evening.
No, this is Saturday at 4:30, but
Oh, I'm sorry, 4:30. No, that's weekday.
Saturday, May 17th, 4:30.
Correct. I'm sorry, 4:30. That's right. It was, I'm just reading right. So it was 4:30 was peak. At noon, it was 5. I'm sorry, I was just looking at the wrong column.
Hold on, so wait, did you know that's peak because you counted at other times?
We counted between 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. on
Okay, oh, and these are
Saturday.
the count records in the back?
Now, those are the analysis sheets for the various different,
But would I find the counts for the other, can you just point me, just one example, just to that, like, two, I guess that same Saturday?
right, so if we looked at table 1 in my report, I don't think you need the magnifying glass. It's
Oh,
not that
really?
big.
So it's not one of the back
It's not-
reports?
it's table 1.
Oh, here we go, these are marked, the others aren't.
So if you look at the 1, 2, 3rd column, overall total,
Hold on.
You don't need-
Saturday,
May 17th, 2025. Right, so you've got the overall total, which is the last series of columns.
hold on, what's area A and what's area B?
Those are just 2 areas on the site that we broke up.
They're both on the same,
They're on the site.
Okay,
Yeah,
go
those are
ahead.
on the property. So you want to look at the overall total. So at 11 a.m. it was 5, 11:35, 11 noon 5, and it was 9 at 12:30, 9, 7, 8, 5, 9, 8.
right,
and
but
then
at
10.
the same time that peak for them, let's use like 12:30, you're not 10, but you're 9. So
Right.
it's peak also. So at those times, they're 9, and you still come up with, what was it, 24 or something?
It would be 23 then. So then there'd be less, right? So there'd be one.
You added one for
Correct.
another employee at T-Mobile or something?
Yes, that's correct. So yeah, so there'd still be available parking, no matter how we cut it up.
Oh, the 24 or 23 is with these 9?
Correct.
All right.
And,
Okay.
and again, in my own opinion, I don't know why there are 9 people at T-Mobile. We were talking about during this back and forth at the office, how often do you buy a cell phone? I think I've had mine, it's
Right, but
ancient.
you know what it is, I think, when you go there, like, say 9 people want to go there on Saturday to do whatever, buy a new one, but a lot of times it's fixing things. You do take, like, you end up standing around there for an hour practically. Even when they start fixing it, it just seems to, at least in my limited experience, it always takes, so like, people stack up.
But I think the thing to really recognize, though, is the way that these restaurants function now. I mean, a lot of it's changed from, say, 5 years ago.
No, I get that.
So people are in and out quick. I mean, even though I like Chipotle, I don't like to eat there. I'd rather bring it home.
Yeah, it's really not built for eating.
It's
It's
not.
like a bare bones,
Correct. And I don't think they want you there either.
I agree.
They want you in and they want you out.
or they
So-
would have designed it differently.
Correct. So a lot of the activity is going to be very, very short durations. And the nice part about Chipotle is that when you get there, there's a separate window area with the food's
And no
already-
freezer.
And there's no freezer, but the food's already ready. I mean, they have a whole dedicated staff that's preparing the app orders. And they're always there when you get there. And they notify you when it's there. Or with Uber Eats, they only make money when they pick it up and deliver it to your home or your office or wherever you are. So these are much faster turnovers than what we'd anticipate. And therefore, the parking demand is actually less. And we've been involved in a couple of those Chipotle Lane, what is it? Chipotle Lane, sorry.
It's too bad you can't have that here, because that seems like the most efficient way to do it.
Well,
Again,
yes
we
and
would
no.
lose parking.
But again, but again, for people who want that, they're not gonna come here. They're gonna find one with a Chipotle, or one that will have it. Right, there are people who won't go to.
They're going to go
and I'll
north
call
on
again.
Houston to find a different Chipotle.
Well, again, in my opinion, the people who are gonna go north on Houston are gonna live in the neighborhood. Again, because we're pulling people from Hempstead Turnpike and Nassau Boulevard. That's our main source of business. These are 2 major, one's a state highway, one's a major county roadway.
Understood.
So,
Okay, are there any other questions from the board? And if not, do I have a motion?
Make a motion, the hearing be closed, and the case be placed on the decision calendar. You will be notified of the decision when it is rendered.
Second? All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Interesting.
What are they doing?
Next, we have case 427 of 25, North Belmore, Dunson Lynn, special exception for proposed parking field, permission to park in front yard setback on Jerusalem Avenue and with insufficient maneuvering aisle, also known as 2241 Jerusalem Avenue.
I do. Afternoon, members of the board. Mark Anthony Monastery, architect, 1563 Belmore Avenue, Belmore, New York.
Good afternoon. My name is Ashley Lokianis from Mark Anthony Architects, 1563 Belmore Avenue in Belmore, New York. We are here today on behalf of our clients Dunson Lynn, Michael Palladino, and Christopher Greff, who are the owners and tenants of the subject property. Yes. The set of pictures that you have should have been taken in June of 2024. And then I do have some photos that were taken about 2 days ago. I did.
Okay, they fairly and accurately represent what they purport to represent. They've not been changed or in any way. Okay, we'll accept those into evidence.
So
Thank
these
you.
were taken June 24?
Yes.
20, over a year ago.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why she brought new ones.
And so I brought new ones from Monday of
this
this
week.
week,
Thank you.
Okay, keep going.
which I took myself. There was a permit application filed with the building department for the subdivision under tracking number 24-6113, for which we are requesting a special exception for the proposed parking field, which falls under lot 20.
Field is separate from any business?
Right now, it belongs to the business for Carvel.
Is that this building that's diagonally on the premises?
Yes.
And so, wait, this is part of this lot is all part of Carvel, its parking, and then this other parking area?
Yes, so lot 7 is where Carvel sits, and lot 20 is in between lot 7 and lot 19, and lot 20 is the one that we're here
Hold
to
on,
discuss
lot 19,
today.
lot 20, okay, and lot 7. So this parking field you're talking about is lot 20? It's darkened?
Yes, it's darkened, and then it's also that triangle piece at the top above lot 7 as well. That's all lot 20.
The one that's hashed?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, what lot is that? Lot 20?
yes, that's all lot 20.
Okay, I see. So are you asking to have this parking field separate from a business?
Yes, it's going to remain as a separate lot.
Okay.
For clarification purposes, the applicant, the owner of the delicatessen does not the tenant does not actually own the property.
Wait, where's the delicatessen?
That's the My Hero that's next to it.
On
Because-
19?
Yes,
Okay.
correct. So we cannot actually obtain the property for the parking lot. to
Wait, so
use.
20?
He wants to use that parking lot in conjunction with My Hero, but since he is only the tenant, he cannot actually purchase the property yet, because he does not own the delicatessen yet, so,
So what are we doing here?
Yeah,
we're
so like-
we're asking to use it as a parking lot. For the
In the past, we haven't had a lot of these, but in the past, when we had a business with a lot and they wanted to carve the lot off, it was not allowable.
Love it.
But
But
so the parking lot, this proposed parking lot area is currently owned by the same person who owns the Marvell lot.
Correct.
And
Carvel, yes.
Carvel, I'm sorry. I live in Marvell.
Fair enough.
Who owns the deli lot? Those same people?
No.
Someone else?
this is
So-
it's gonna be a standalone parking lot.
That's what I'm not understanding.
Theoretically.
Yes.
Well,
I have it all
okay.
Okay.
mapped out if I can
And-
go
and
through
I
it
can
and
also-
then answer any questions.
Okay, tell us your story, and then we'll go
And I'm going to
from there.
brief it real quick. They purchased the business.
They who?
Will be purchasing the property.
Wait,
Wait a
they who?
second.
Hold on.
Yeah.
My clients.
No, which business?
I'm sorry, My Hero,
Okay, the deli?
which is to the west of Carvel.
So when
Yes,
the deli is able to purchase the lot its building's on, it is planning to purchase this piece too?
No. It owns the
She's
business.
shaking yes, and you're saying,
No. They own the business, they bought the business, they did not buy the property yet.
Right,
They will be.
right.
First-
And when
first
they
refusal.
buy that property, are
They're
you
gonna
saying
join them.
they're planning to buy this lot too?
They're purchasing that
The
lot.
property lot?
Yes,
Wait, they're already in contract for it?
for the property we're talking about today.
Is in contract or has been sold?
No, it's in contract.
It's in contract. It's pending this.
Wait, this parking lot is in contract to be bought by these folks. And
This-
then they,
No, hang on. There's two different owners right here. The gentleman to your right owns the Carvel and the large piece of property.
Raise your
Got it.
hand.
okay, keep going.
The other two own the business My Hero.
And neither of these people currently own the lot that My Hero's on.
You are correct.
Okay, and the owner of the Carvel business also owns the Carvel lot and Lot 20. Does the owner of the Carvel own Lot 7 and Lot 20?
Yes.
But yet, the deli people are in contract to purchase Lot 20, but what, it's contingent on them being able to buy Lot 19?
No. It's in process, in contingent of getting
So
approval. yeah.
why didn't that sale just happen already, so we can join it to that bit? Oh, because they don't own that lot.
That's correct.
When are they planning to buy that lot, if they know?
Soon as the,
I mean, I'm not asking for any trade secrets or business confidentiality.
so the owner right now is an older gentleman, and he's very sick.
Oh,
and the
they're
kids are
waiting.
Huh?
They're waiting.
I don't want to sound morbid, but yes, and that's kind of the deal with the children.
Becky, what about carving off a lot? Like, what happens if they don't buy that? Now we have a lot that's not tied to any business. It can't be started, they get sold to someone else, and it gets used as like a paid lot or anything.
That's why Mr. Carnaval is suggesting that a condition be made that that parking lot is only being used for that parking for My Hero only.
So what, are we gonna make it a temporary grant? The issue is.
Yes.
Let's say they decide not to buy My Hero, or the guy won't sell it, or his kids decide they wanna run the deli themselves, or whatever it is.
Yes, to make it a temporary grant so that they have to come back before the board and then it could be null and void.
Well, it's gonna have to be voided. We're gonna have to figure out that it has to be voided if these folks, like, first of all, let me ask you, is it already merged with Lot 7?
No, it is not part of the
They're owned in
Carvel's
separate
original.
names?
No, it's not part of the Carvel's original grant. It's not part of their lot. He bought it separately and it is a separate lot.
Because it's in a separate name, I take it.
Yes.
What right do they have, well, they can purchase anything they want. What right do we have to act, can we act on this as it's a single, separate lot attached to nothing?
Yes.
Because usually we can't grant parking, or it's
It's
a
attached,
significant issue to grant parking that's not attached to one of the businesses.
right.
Right. That's why the zone allows for a park, it's just a parking lot, but you're
But
stating.
why can't they just make a deal to use it right now the way it all sits? And
They
then
are.
when they,
They kind of are.
They kind of are, they're using it that way as we speak.
right, so why do we need to put the cart before the horse instead of,
And if I may, Mrs. D'Amato, they need 239F approval?
No,
That's the-
not on that portion of Jerusalem Avenue is maintained by the town of Hempstead.
Correct.
That portion is maintained by the town,
Correct.
but they own, Nassau County owns it. I thought I read somewhere in the papers that they need a 239F approval.
Portions of it is 239F, portions of it isn't. Let me just double check. I stand corrected, that is from 239 is going to be required. That portion is Nassau County. Correct.
Katura, would it be okay if I went through my speech? I think it answers most of the questions you guys have.
I'm there.
Okay. There are 3 lots involved with the property, as we've said. Lot 19, where the business My Hero is currently existing. Lot 7, where the business Carvel currently exists. And Lot 20, which is the lot we're here today to discuss. We are requesting only that 3,698 square feet of Lot 20 to be subdivided.
Oh, so you're not
For the My
proposing
Hero.
that the hashed part be included?
So it's,
It's not really a subdivision.
so it is, it is.
Okay.
I promise I'll
But
explain it
I'm
all.
just saying, you're only.
The darkened part of Lot 20, that's all gray, that is the portion
Right, I
that would go
understand.
for the other 2,438 square feet of Lot 20, which is above Lot 7, that is to be reapportioned
So
to
are you
Lot 7.
subdividing lot 20 there? or-
Yes, Lot 20, can I approach? I think it might.
No, it's okay, I got it.
Okay,
I
so 3,698 square feet of Lot 20 will be subdivided for the My Hero property to use as a parking field, which is what we're asking the special exception for. So I do understand why you guys are saying that it's currently operating as is, but that's the main reason for the subdivision, because it's not all of Lot 20. It's a portion.
Ms. Lowe, we don't actually have the subdivision before it either.
No,
That's Nassau County,
Yes.
239F.
that's Nassau County Planning Commission.
But-
But then Lot 7 is to be, the remaining portion, 2,438 square feet, is to be reapportioned to Lot 7, which would make the total square footage for Lot 7 11,427 square feet. So those two would be combined. Just so we're on the page, on the same page. There is no change to Lot 19. Lot 20 would be subdivided to get 3,698 square feet, and the remaining square footage of 2,438 would be reapportioned to Lot
And
7.
do you already have the application with the county for that?
No, we can't, we've started the application, but unfortunately, we can't move forward and get a date until we have the notice of decision for here. So we are starting with 3 lots, and we would be ending with 3 lots. We are also here today to discuss permission to park in the front yard setback on Jerusalem Avenue. The parking spots do come all the way to the curb and are met with a chain link fence that runs alongside the
How
curb.
many, are there 2 in there? Go ahead. Is it 2 that preach or just 1?
It's 2 on, yeah.
Front
it's
yard,
2.
1 or 2?
2.
I just couldn't see the line.
This is the one.
Yes, only 1.
It's one.
The required setback is 10 feet, for which we're requesting 10 feet of relief.
I just couldn't see the line.
One parking spot in the front yard setback.
Yeah.
It's really 2, but
It's a little bit,
we
it
could- we
goes
could,
into
we
the
could
second
push
a
it so
little
it's
bit.
only 1.
Okay,
We can adjust that 1 foot, that's only 1,
okay, keep going.
because it's a 9-foot parking spot.
So theoretically, it
So
goes
theoretically, it
into
goes into the second parking spot,
the second,
Okay.
because it's a
10-foot setback.
Okay.
We are also requesting relief for the insufficient maneuvering aisle width solely on Lot 20. The required maneuvering aisle width is 24 feet, and the existing width is 17.79 feet, for which we need relief of 6.21 feet.
But it marks out that way, but as a practical matter,
It's,
they have a lot more backup
it's kind
because
of,
they
yes,
cross
because
over.
they can just back onto Lot 19, yes. The chain link fence, as you can see from the photos, was removed. You'll see the cones where the bollards used to be. So the maneuvering width will not be impeded, like you said. Our clients have spoken to the neighboring businesses, most of which use Lot 20 as well for parking, and have gotten 16 letters of support, which I have to submit to the board.
Wait, what other businesses so they're not planning on using this lot just for their business?
Yes, they are.
They are, we're just saying that in the past, some of them have used the lot.
This just literally seems like a parking lot to rent spots or something.
No red.
No.
Especially like you said.
There's just a lot of businesses in that area, if you're familiar with it. They're all up and down that street right there.
What's the required parking for the My Hero?
It's takeout.
It's
How
what?
about, what's their parking requirement?
There's no parking calculation, we're not going for any of that. takeout.
What is it?
My Hero is takeout.
I know, but I'm just asking what the required parking is.
We don't have that.
Well, even if you take it out, okay, my question is, the reason I'm asking,
It's not takeout, you have
hold on, no,
dining
there's
in
not,
the front.
no, hold on. The reason I'm asking is I just don't know. I'd like to,
Theoretically, it's really
Excuse me.
takeout.
Let-
No
let's-
different than Chipotle is takeout.
This is your case, and we need that complete honesty and straightforwardness. In the front of this building, which has nothing to do with this application, there is takeout in the front yard. So it is a quote-unquote restaurant by definition.
all I wanted to know was how many parking spots are required for that business, because I see what they already have on their own lot. And I'd like to know if they actually need this other lot, or if it's gonna become a rent-a-parking spot. That's what it's kind of looking like.
So to answer, I think, both questions at the same time, I don't know what the calculations are for the parking because I didn't do it. As far as I know, that's a takeout, always has been for a long, long time. I agree that there are benches out in the front, and some people do sit there.
And picnic tables.
That's what I'm talking about, picnic
We'll
tables.
stipulate all that. I just want to know,
I didn't do the calculation because we're ultimately not here for My Hero.
well,
Correct.
you are, but you aren't, but you are, because the whole argument here is to buy this to go with that business.
There are
But
5 parking spaces behind it.
I see that.
It's not fact. I understand what you're saying.
But
I
between
know why you did it.
Mr. Plumer showed me pictures of construction vehicles on some portion of this. And then a lot of businesses are using it, plus it doesn't seem to be right, really, I feel, but.
The original building was built in 1946 and did not require parking at the time.
Right.
My Hero
I'm still
building.
trying to get through this situation here, like,
I think this application is premature. And my recommendation to the board is to dismiss it or adjourn it sine die. That means adjourn it to infinity without a date. When your client acquires My Hero, if that's his intention, then you come back with a contract or a deed that says, I now own My Hero, and now I'm gonna buy this lot, or whatever, and this would all become moot, because you don't need to have backup space. It's gonna be one
You're 100%
person that
right.
owns it.
This, having this parking changes, and what you're not hearing is, and I know that you live in the area and you
Yeah,
actually
but you're-
visit there.
you're using-
It changes, let me finish.
No.
It changes the entire area. The parking over there, I own a house that my future ex-wife lives in around the block. I go down that block all the time. There are people about to get picked off all the time because the parking
There are people
is
who-
horrible. The Carvel does not allow people to park inside there. There's been a deal that's cut. It's temporary to what it is. It would behoove them to not take over the property inevitably. They only own the business. They don't own the property yet. Think about it. They buy this property and they don't buy that property next door, they would have a dead piece of property. There's no rental of that property.
Well, I think there is,
Additionally,
because she said all those
Now-
people use it.
So I
and
think,
not buildable, that's right.
also, I just meant in the past, they had used the lot for themselves, so they were happy to support. There's 16 letters of support, not only from the businesses, but also from the resident in the rear of the property as well. And also, we can't go in front of, it's not just about subdividing, it's also about reapportioning the top of Lot 20 to Lot 7 as well, and we can't go in front of Nassau County Planning Commission until we come before you.
By
So
the next-
ultimately,
When that sale of My Hero becomes finalized, then I think you'll have a bona fide application, if it even needs board approval, except for the parking in the front yard setback. So,
And was the My Hero folks planning to, I assume they were planning to, when they were able to purchase the My Hero property, to purchase these in the same name, so they're a package, like the parking
Of
lot.
course.
That's what I'm having
That's
trouble.
100% correct.
Why would, why couldn't they do this transaction right now? Get it subdivided by the county,
because we can't get it subdivided. In order to file for Nassau County Planning Commission, unfortunately, they require a notice of decision that we've gone in front of you for the notice, for the subdivision. So, and the
Wait, for the
reapportionment.
subdivision?
Yes, subdivision and reapportionment for,
Okay, but that's not coming.
That's not us.
Hold on, but that's not the parking variance.
but it is
I'm
because
ge-
that's the parking field.
No, but the subdivision is separate from the parking variance. Right, you said you have to come before us for the they're asking you to get the subdivision from us before you get it from them, right? That's what you said.
That's what's regular, that's what we got. No,
Ms. First, are we missing something? I'm still having trouble understanding the cart before the horse thing.
so in 2 seconds, can one of the My Hero business owners speak?
Sure.
Great.
Have you been sworn in, sir?
Nope.
Christopher Greff? Yeah. 1005 Jerusalem Avenue, North Merrick, New York, 11566. So our main objective here is to get the lot next door from Carvel. Our main objective here is to buy partial of his lot next door from Carvel, is to keep the people from crossing Jerusalem Avenue. It's a 5 corners. Yeah, I'm thinking, he passed there, he said it earlier. Yeah, the cars come off Belmore Avenue at high rates of speed. They're redesigning Belmore Avenue into 1 lane on both sides, which is in future thing, to keep our customers from walking across the street for no one to be killed. That's our main objective here. We put a handicap ramp in. All elderly people can now park right next to the store and come right into the store.
But aren't you doing that now without this board doing anything?
No, we can't do it because it's his lot.
But I thought someone testified that he was allowing it to be used that way now.
No, he lets us park in the lot because we're in contract to buy it, but if we don't buy the lot, he's not allowing it to go any more further.
But I'm still back to, she said, you gotta get the subdivision here before the county will let, because without a variance for parking, you could still subdivide a lot and sell it or buy it. Like, because it's the variance for the parking that seems premature to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's property, but it maybe not a parking lot legally yet. I know it's being used that way, and I don't think there's any issue with that.
Yeah. So our main thing here is
If
the...
I may, technically it is a parking lot, but it belongs to Carvel.
Correct.
So, and you're using it, that portion which you think you're here properly.
We're in a contract to sell, and
And
then
you-
we're gonna expire soon.
I'm sure he's gonna renew your contract or whatever.
No, we pushed
Okay.
it 3 times already. He's not renewing. So our biggest thing
Maybe
is,
he'll rent it to you, I have no idea. This
that he's not
application
renting it. He's not renting it to us.
I'm still not understanding why it's critical to do the parking variance now.
To keep people from crossing Jerusalem Avenue, not being killed by cars coming off of Belmore
Grant the
Avenue.
parking variance, like, you can still, I mean, you're using it now and all the rest of it. I mean, I understand if you have to do the subdivide here and do it there too. I mean, if that's what you said. I get that. It's creating a parking lot not attached to the business as a separate thing.
Our major thing here today is to come here to get cars off the street from parking on Jerusalem Avenue on the opposite side of the street of My Hero, that they don't have to cross over and take a chance of getting hit by a car. That's our main reason for doing this.
But can't you do that now?
No, how are we gonna do that now? It's not our lot, it's his property. Once we own the property, we'll be allowed to do that.
Can I ask you a question? Why can't you just buy the lot? What do you need the variance for? You have the lot,
That's what
then...
we're here for, to buy the lot.
No, but you want a variance from us. Why don't you just go in contract and buy the lot?
We tried to do that. They can't, you just have to separate it. The town of Hempstead has to separate it.
Mr. Munster. Mr.,
What if we did?
what are you here for? You're here for parking, and are you here, see, nothing on my thing says subdivision, but you indicated the county's gonna do that, and then you said you can't go to the county to subdivide before you come here to subdivide. So,
Yeah, our
but I
original
don't have a
application was
subdivision
for a
before me.
proposed subdivision.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Our original application was for a proposed subdivision. That's what brought us here today. Our application filed with the building department was for a proposed subdivision.
Okay, hold on.
But what's
So
gonna-
why is it, wait, hold on. So if that, Miss First, you
In
probably
order
know.
to get a waiver of a file map from Nassau County Planning Commission, the Nassau County Planning Commission requires that the building department give them a zoning compliance letter. Unfortunately, because the property is going to be used for parking, that creates a variance, we won't give them a zoning compliance letter.
But
Well, hold on, Joe.
wait a second, if he reconfigures the parking lot, it would not need a variance, would it? He can have parallel parking to, or perpendicular parking, if you will, to Jerusalem Avenue, no parking in the front yard. He could park 5 cars in there, and that complies with the
Hold on.
building.
Ms. First
Yes.
of all, but I don't have a subdivision before me, and she's telling me that's what she needs to go to the county. I feel like if I had a subdivision before me, we could,
They need to waive any zoning violations off of the property in order to go for their subdivision.
What's the zoning violation?
yeah.
Parking in the front yard setback, insufficient maneuver while, yeah.
If they reconfigure the parking lot, Mr. Mark Anthony, if you reconfigure the parking lot, eliminate the parking in front yard setback, and figure out how many cars you want. 3 cars, it doesn't matter, it's not. You can pull straight in. That doesn't need a backup.
I mean, after all, back to how many parking spots, what business are we even determining how many spots you need there for it?
Well, it would be for My Hero, so technically,
But they don't,
theoretically,
it's
My
not
Hero.
connected yet. You know
Well,
what I'm
that was
saying?
why when we met with Lou Carnival at the beginning of filing this, and he stated there would likely be a condition, which Ms. First said earlier, that it would be specifically for Lot 19 to use the parking, which My Hero exists on Lot 19. So
Okay,
they
hold-
currently have 5 spots, which is what is required, and
Oh, that's what I was asking earlier.
yes, and they provided 5 spots. So this would allow for additional parking, because as Mr. Graff said, that road is incredibly dangerous.
Okay, but right now, that lot 20, that portion that we're discussing, there's no business that it's calculated as part of the parking. So
Yes.
as Mr. Pellegrini said, if the only issue is having you could just take the parking spots off of it and then subdivide it all, and then we can give you a parking variance. Matter of fact, you wouldn't even need a parking variance
Right.
because you have enough. That's why I was asking that earlier.
They don't have the backup, so they wouldn't be able to use it for
Wait,
parking.
wait. But they don't have the backup, they don't need any spots there that have insufficient backup. They just said the 5 spots they have here satisfy their parking requirement. So they could eliminate all the spots here, there's no variance at all. And then subdivide the lot, come back when they merge, when it goes with the business, and then tell us how much parking they need. And by the way, they don't even need parking. I mean, I'm sure as a practical matter, they believe they do, and they're probably right. But as a building department matter, what they're telling us is they need 5.5. So this could be reconfigured easily to not have, let's paint over this couple of the stripes. I don't know.
Stripes aren't even there.
Right. Oh, they're not?
No.
So that's why I'm not understanding. Why the building department can't clear it for their subdivision. That's the
If
thing we,
you wanted to park 2 cars there and you show 2 parking spaces lined out, you wouldn't
they
be
don't even
here.
need it. They don't even need it. Becky's in the position to figure out how, because, I mean, this is kind of backwards for us, but I get what you guys need to achieve. So, it sounds to me like, Becky, are we saying that what they really need to get out of here is no zoning violations so they can subdivide this? I just don't understand why the subdivision's not before us. No, he could subdivide the property off of his.
It's already a single and separate lot.
Okay.
The lot is already single and separate.
But he still wants to subdivide that lot in half.
It's one single lot.
No, lot 20 is the dark and the point, and they want to, that's the subdivision she's talking about.
Yeah, he has to subdivide, yeah. he
So
needs-
wait, what
But it
is
is a single
stopping
lot.
the building department from doing whatever they need to subdivide that apart? So they can go to the county and get that approval? Because, by the way, they don't even need that as, I get, as a business matter, you want it, but they aren't even short parking anyway. I think the parking's a great idea, don't get me wrong.
If I subdivide that lot off, what is it being used for?
Parking 1
Wait,
car.
hold on, lot 20, no, the triangle stays with Carvel,
Uh-huh.
and then this I guess it would be it would be another piece of property in his name, not as a parking lot, just a piece of blank property.
I can't do that. I need to know what is being used for in order to give them a zoning compliance letter. We don't just subdivide blank pieces
Okay,
of property.
so what if they say, what it's going to be used for is for extra parking for our business, and he's gonna keep the other half for his?
And then he has to give me the extra business, and I have to figure out exactly what it's attached to. I can't.
No, but,
That's our dilemma.
Right.
yeah, but so, if he owns all the property, sorry, I keep pointing
The
at you, I
building department
apologize.
does not have the authority to make conditions on the property as to what it belongs to.
Okay, can we grant the subdivision?
You're not granting, you're
We're here for
granting
a special exception.
a special
I
exception
know.
for a parking lot.
I know, but she said she's here for a subdivision, that's another part of my
No,
confusion.
I'm just saying that's what our original application, if you look on that,
Yeah, I don't have it, but go ahead. No, you
I can
can
give you,
just
I
tell me.
have an extra copy I'll give to you, but
I
if you
can
look on our
tell that
scope of
you guys
work-
are being stuck in this strange circle
Yeah,
too.
so, if you look in the, at the top of our,
Give me 1 second.
sure.
Apparently, it's an
There should really be a building department meeting with the BZA prior to.
But let's hear what they have to say. They have to, I don't want to fucking postpone the bullshit. No.
Pat,
I understand. Ollie?
So here's, hold on.
Fair. I wasn't in that. No, I just wanted to get paperwork.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna say. We need to get our heads together on this, but I think we're gonna try and explore whether or not we can get a consensus to try and structure something to facilitate this. But I think what we would think about are whether or not we could approve this for a couple parking spots or whatever, that's not a big deal, temporarily for a year, with you coming back each year, and under the condition that that these folks buy this land and they hold them in the same name, so they merge. And if they don't, if that doesn't happen, then it would be void. The grant would be void, not even voidable. It would just be by operation of law void. So I'm not sure if everyone's going to agree to that. We have to get to it, but that's what we're trying to put something together to, so we recognize trying to facilitate that, but it just runs contrary to our requirements.
So, Mr. D'Amato, that's two things. That's exactly what we're looking for, and I apologize if we're misdirected up here. Secondly, it's good to see someone in that seat that meets the height limit.
Pardon me? See, I didn't
Fair
hear.
enough.
Said, it's good to see someone in that seat that meets the height limit.
Oh, boy, I'm not going to repeat that. Okay,
used to the
so
height jokes.
is there anything else you wish to add at this time?
I just want to say one thing while you guys are discussing it. Just one. Just today, just one. While you guys are discussing it, I just want to be sure that you're aware that it's only the 3,698 square feet of Lot 20 and not the entirety. of
Right,
Lot
but you're going to deal with how that further gets done in terms
Yes.
of, because it's otherwise an as of right. You know, it would be much easier if they just owned it.
Fair
But
enough.
also, they're going to buy it in the same name, so they merge. Because we have to have the parking lot attached to a business.
Yes.
And
make
this is a
note
very-
that the Carvel is going to revert back to their original site plan and their parking.
Okay, that requires no action of ours, correct?
You understand that, Carvel?
I don't know if it'll be he's going to still keep that other piece in separate name?
Yeah.
Okay, so is there anything else, anyone you need to add? Are there any other questions here?
Yes.
Okay.
If you were to apply to the buildings department to park one car, not in the front yard setback, wouldn't that satisfy the building department to enable you to go to Nassau
Can I just
County?
say something?
If I had a head plan examiner here
Okay, go ahead.
who could answer that, I'd answer it. Can he do that? Can we do that?
We have to figure it out.
One spot on that lot?
Fortunately, they still do not own the property, so I cannot use it.
Yeah, so that's why we have to have conditions.
I'm sorry.
They do not own the property, so I cannot I cannot do
See,
that.
even if we gave them one spot, it's not connected to a business. So that's why we need the conditions.
It still isn't when you come back attached to a business.
Well, it's going to be, or it's going to be void as
Yeah.
of law.
That's
No,
why,
I mean,
yeah, that was why Lou recommended the condition in the first place.
yeah, so there'll
So
be a
we need
few
that going
things.
Yep.
Okay, all right, so are there any other questions from the board? If not, is there a motion?
I make a motion, the hearing be closed and the case be placed on the decision calendar. You guys will be notified when we decide it.
Second? Second. All in favor? Okay.
Thank you all. Enjoy the
Have a
afternoon.
great day.
Next, we have cases 42925 near Limbrook, the Little Schoolhouse LLC, use variance to maintain expansion of daycare in Res B district on adjacent lot in existing building, variance in off-street parking located on separate property, a portion of which is used for daycare employees, and no provisions for on-site maneuvering aisle for pickup and drop-off of children and attendees, also known as 2880 and 288 through 290 Broadway, as well as case 43025 near Lynbrook, the Little Schoolhouse LLC, special exception to maintain expansion of daycare with roof over connecting all structures and no provisions for on-site maneuvering aisle for pickup and drop-off of children and attendees, also known as 302 Broadway.
Dominic Minerva, Minerva and D'Agostino, 107 South Central Avenue, Valley Stream, New York, attorney for the applicant. Nope. We're just doing the introduction for the record. No problem.
Is this for the next case? Or? Go ahead and let's get started.
Jennifer Curtis, 50 Norwich Avenue, Lynbrook.
Can you speak louder?
Jennifer Curtis, 50 Norwich Avenue, Lynbrook.
Okay.
Okay, the application for you today is to permit an expansion of an existing daycare facility at 302 Broadway in Lynbrook. Subject premises is located at the southwest corner of Broadway and Sunset Avenue. And it's also known as Section 42, Block 155, and tax lots 1 through 6 on the Nassau County Land and Tax Map. The existing daycare operation is located in the business zone, and the expansion is proposed in an existing commercial building located in a Residence B district. Originally, a daycare operation was approved on the parcel at 302 Broadway in 1998 under building permit number 9803887. My client was not the original applicant in 1998, but has operated the daycare facility at this location for the last 9 years at 302 Broadway. She is now seeking to expand into the adjacent building. This is primarily as a result of a forced change in her business model. The local school district has begun offering universal pre-kindergarten schooling to the residents of this community. As a result, her enrollment of the 4 and 5-year-old children in her program is declining. She is now adjusting her program to care for infants as well as the toddlers and preschoolers she's been caring for the last 9 years. The state requirement to care for infants requires more square footage per infant, and therefore requiring her to expand the facility in order to be able to service the same amount of children, although the applicant will be asking the state for an increase in the total number of children because she's leasing all this additional area from the landlord. Currently, she's licensed for 32 children, which is made up of 20 preschoolers and 12 toddlers. With the expanded facility, she'll be asking the state to increase her license to 53 children maximum, with an addition of 20 infants, which she doesn't service at all now, 18 preschoolers, and 15 toddlers, and that's the number that was used for the parking calculations. Again, she has been servicing approximately 32 children for 9 years at this location. And with the previous application in 1998, the pickup and drop-off has been occurring on the 302 Broadway premises for many years. The times the parents drop off their children is staggered. It's not like all 32 children are dropped off at one time in the morning. They're accepted throughout the morning with early drop-off commencing at 7:15 a.m. and pick up in the evening through 6 p.m. With regard to the parking variance, the application for a waiver of parking of 12 spaces. It's noted on the site plan, though, that the applicant's landlord, DVV Realty LLC, who owns both 302 Broadway and 306 Broadway, maintains a 12-space surplus per code at the 306 Broadway location, which is right next door, and it's in the same entity, and they filed a separate application, so that would be a restriction on the CO
Wait, to use, for the 302 to use the 306 extra?
to make the parking at 306 Broadway for the 302 and the expanded daycare. Yes, that's application 24-394, which is not before you. It's like a ride-along because it didn't require any variances. And that application was for parking in conjunction with the adjacent properties referencing these applications, 24-12097.
But she already has the 12-spot waiver, no?
So, not for the expansion area.
Okay.
So,
Can
no.
Can I just ask you, Ms. Minerva, it says, variance in off-street parking, blah, 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 a portion of which is used for daycare employees and no provisions for on-site maneuvering aisle for pickup and drop-off. That's the site they do it on? And I don't understand the
No,
wording of
so
that.
the first one, case 429, that has no parking at all. There's no off-street parking, so it's, I guess it's a waiver of everything.
Okay, and it says it on the second one too, though.
Yeah, so that one, that's the one that they have the parking on, and they do the pickup and drop-off.
But why does it say no provisions for on-site maneuvering aisle for pickup? Is that asking us to, okay, no on-site maneuverability aisle, or, it's not clear to me.
My belief would be that as it is stands now, and again, this was approved in 1998, we're not changing it, doesn't have the, I guess, the space you would need now to make the turn that you would be required to make, whereas here they're
Okay,
making
it's just
three-point
oddly
turns.
worded.
And they're making three-point turns, which they've been doing for the last 10 years.
So you need a variance to allow you to not have the sufficient maneuverability.
Correct.
It's just worded oddly.
So as I stated, the other permit that's right on will allow her to have her employees park at 306 Broadway, which the 12 spaces are more than enough to accommodate the employees of the daycare operation. Currently, there's 6 to 7 employees on a max peak shift, and right now, 3 of those employees drive to the site on a regular basis, and there are 3 spaces that were given credit for and are on our site plan at the existing facility at 302 Broadway. So really, we don't think we need any, but we have them per code if we need them with the other application. Therefore, even though the applicant can use the parking at 306 Broadway, it's not anticipated to be necessary based upon the 9 years of experience operating the facility, except for any minor increases in staffing if the enrollment does increase to the new maximum. We're not expecting it to because the preschoolers have been declining, but if it did, we have more than enough parking if we needed a few spaces on the next lot. With regard to the use variance to expand the daycare facility into the adjacent property at 288 through 290 Broadway, it should be noted that this property it's in a Residence B zone. It's like a little over 60 by 100 lot. It's fully developed with a multi-tenant commercial building. It was built in 1925, and a certificate was issued for the maintenance of the non-conforming multi-tenant retail building. I'm going to submit a copy of that documentation
We'll accept that into evidence.
with the non-conforming findings. Thank you. And I would note that pursuant to Section 4 of the Building Zone Ordinance, the board can make a finding that the change of use from retail to daycare may be continued as a legal non-conforming use if the board determines that such use will not have a greater adverse effect on other properties in the vicinity than the retail use. I also believe of making it not a use variance, right? I also believe that a full economic analysis isn't warranted because it's already developed and illegal as a multi-tenant building. In order to be used as zoned, which would be one single-family dwelling, all the tenants would have to be evicted. The 7-store commercial building demolished and one house built, so that would obviously be a huge economic loss rather than any reasonable return. In connection with the special use permit, the subject premises is surrounded first on its own property by a 1-story medical office building to the west, the existing daycare facility, the remaining portions of the multi-tenant commercial building to the east and south, thereby buffering it from any surrounding properties. To the south is single-family dwellings, but again, we have the remainder of that existing 7-unit building that's behind us. And there's other dwellings across the street of Broadway. I'm going to submit as applicant's Exhibit B, photos taken by myself on June 19th that I believe fairly and accurately depict what they're purported to depict. The only alteration I made was to label them on the bottom as to what the picture is of. As stated, the school has operated this location for 9 years without incident, and it's my client's position that the surrounding neighbors have welcomed our operation, feel it is more beneficial and less onerous than any additional retail stores, which goes to the finding that it's non-conforming use to be continued, and therefore it's in compliance with the special use criteria pursuant to Section 267 of Building Zone Ordinance. It will not cause an increased traffic problem, not have substantial adverse effect on property values, will not overtax municipal services, and is not a substantial risk to fire or emergency. Now, I have, as my last exhibit, a petition signed by 30 of the people on the radius map.
Myself and one of my co-teachers. Everyone. We went on Sunday and a Monday, and we could have filled up the whole map. Everyone's very happy with it.
Okay, and just, there was one letter on top, which was from the neighbor to the west, who owns the 18-unit apartment building. I'm just going to quickly read it. He wrote a very nice letter. To whom it may concern, the little schoolhouse, and it's a short letter. The little schoolhouse has been and will always be a fantastic asset to the Lynbrook community. As a close-by owner next door, the school helps with rentals because young couples with young children need this service. I've never received any complaints from any of my 18 tenants. I am completely rented. We look forward to many more years of great relationship with this school. No one has ever complained about parking, noise, or crowds. Please call if you have any questions. Joe Bressler, Rep Boys 2 LLC. I'm going to submit that. And again, we have 30 signatures. I'm sorry, my client corrected me. It's 20 signatures of those 30. We'll let the petition speak for itself.
Okay.
So we request your favorable consideration. Unfortunately, there's a tight deadline for my client here because she needs to get the updated CO as well for the state license. So we request your favorable consideration. And
Quickly.
This has been from my involvement with this case over the last couple of months, something that's really welcomed in this community and an important part of the community. And Jennifer is a lifelong Lynbrook resident, so we hope that you look favorably upon our application.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's no one else here to speak on the matter. Are there any other questions from the board?
I just, I live in Hewlett, and your business has a very good reputation throughout the community. My son went to Lynbrook, schools. And as far as parking, there's a Lynbrook public parking lot maybe about 4 blocks away that you can meter. You got the railroad station. You have the MTA bus that goes down there, so there's public transportation for people, for workers to get there, if they needed to, or any of your customers.
Yeah,
So-
she has very few of her workers that drive regularly.
But I actually pass by there a lot of times on the way to work, and I never see a problem there. Never. The laundromat's on the other side of the street. There's a doctor's office there, gas station. It conforms to the neighborhood.
Thank you.
If there are no further questions from the board, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that the hearing be closed and the case be placed on the decision calendar. You will be notified when we decide this.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next, we have case 43125, Roosevelt Children Academy, install second illuminated wall sign not permitted, also known as 111 Pleasant Avenue.
Good afternoon, members of the board. My name is Janice Whalen. I'm an attorney at 23 Green Main Street, Huntington, New York, Suite 205. Today, I very proudly represent the Roosevelt Children's Academy. They came to me several months, absolutely. They came to me several months back through Valley Signs, asking if I would help them pursue an area variance to have a second wall sign on the south-facing elevation of a magnificent building which I visited and was so impressed. Apparently, the Roosevelt Children's Academy, as you probably know, was started over 20 years ago in response to the state takeover of the Roosevelt School District. And these people are committed to safety and education for children. They received approval several years back in 2020 to complete the 3-story structure that's the subject of this application. Now, the building that we're talking about is the new K through 4. It is beautiful, it's pristine. I've got some pictures that I'd like to show you the commitment towards safety, building identification, and creating a really enhanced learning experience for the kids. The building faces residences on Pleasant Avenue, and it's really not visible from the thoroughfares by Ellison Avenue and by Babylon Turnpike. So what we're seeking is to, all of the buildings for the Roosevelt Children's Academy are branded in the same manner. They all have beautiful blue lettering signs. The sign that we're seeking permission for, it's going to be situated right underneath this gooseneck lighting on the main facade of the building. Exactly. It's going to be about 46 feet off of the grade. The reason being to provide building identification through the main thoroughfares from Babylon Turnpike and I believe around Ellison Avenue. The letters are channel cut. They would only protrude about 3 inches from the building. They're about 3.5 feet high and 13 feet long. They are backlit, and I understand that this board would be very concerned about, any interference with neighboring properties. It is, but they're dark sky compliant, and they would only be like dusk to dawn. But Mr. LeConte, who is the Chief Operating Officer and the Chief Financial Officer, has assured me that if this board wanted something different, different hours, they would accommodate that. Dark sky compliant, meaning that they're not illuminating off the footprint of the building. I really don't have much else. I believe that this will only enhance the neighborhood. Just so you know, the Roosevelt Children's Academy not only cited this property and the building next door, they've got plans to incorporate a parking area. They've got plans to purchase a parcel of property so they could increase their attendance to include high schools. So they're really very much a good neighbor.
They've been coming before us for 20 years, and one of the early cases, some of the young boys actually rapped a song to us on the...
Maybe I should have brought them. We had one of the pastors here, and I have Miss Ella Portera, who has been with the school since 2006 and very much a great advocate for the school. I believe that this will absolutely provide safety in that people that don't know where the school is, because it's situated off the beaten path, they'll be able to see it. So we'd be very appreciative if this board would look favorably upon our application.
Thank you. Is there any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Make a motion, the hearing be closed and the case be placed on the decision calendar. You'll be notified when we decide it.
Thank you so much.
Second, all in favor? All right, next.
Next, we have case 43225, Seaford, Tepa Realty LLC, waive off-street parking, convert apartments to offices on second floor of existing building, also known as 3956 Merrick Road.
Good afternoon. I'm Mark Geiselman, 364 West Fulton Street, Long Beach, New York. The architect for the owners, Tepper Realty. Okay, you ready? Scope of the project is to take, there's an existing two-story building, currently with offices on the first floor, that were done in 2015, and approved for offices as their attorneys. The Sullivan Law Firm, who's the quote-unquote tenants down there, are also the owners of Tepper Realty, so they own the building. Sullivan Law Firm, who are the owners of, are also the owners of the building under a separate company. That's just for clarity. The second floor currently is a two-bedroom apartment, 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, a living room, and a kitchen/dining area. Recently, that tenant was finally evicted after several years, and they'd like to convert that space to office space. Because of that change of use, we've got to go for a parking variance. The numbers, and I just apologize for a typo, on the first floor office, it's 1923 square feet, not 123. I'm sorry. No, I'll get to that. I just wanted to clarify that there's a typo on the parking calculations. The first floor is actually 1923 square feet, not 123 square feet. Okay, but that's still, but the parking requirement, 9.6 for that first floor, is still correct. Yeah. Right. And the second floor is 1410 divided by 200 is 7.5 spaces. 7.5 spaces. Well, I combined them both. There's no on-site parking. In the public parking that's directly behind the building, the parking area directly behind the building has 64 spaces, and then there's another lot to the west that contains 121 spaces, and another lot to the east containing another 30 spaces. And all the commercial buildings in that area. There are a couple of them that have some limited off-site parking, but not many. Oh, I'm sorry. No, my error. 30 spaces behind the building. Correct. 30. The other spots are 2 other lots to the west that contain, the next one over is 64 spaces. That would be, oh, I have to look at the radius map, I apologize. It's west and, yeah, it's west and, it's all that public parking is behind the buildings that face Merrick Road.
Hold on. So the place behind the building on lot 27 is 30 spots. Now the other one, west and slightly south,
Right.
lots 371 and 372, also called Seaford Public Parking District. How many are in that lot?
64.
Oh, and that's in a Res B zone. Okay, and then you cited one other. Where's that?
The other one would be, it might be off the radius map, but if you look at
Which direction?
this one, yes, that's west of Jackson Avenue.
Okay, so it's not in the radius.
It's not in the radius map, but that lot contains 121 spaces.
Your parking lot, not gonna throw a monkey wrench in it, I guess it's lot 27, the first one right behind the building.
Yeah, that's one with
Yes.
30 spots.
There are a lot of spaces that are reserved for
Some-
AARP or something like that.
There are spaces that are blocked off to allow access to some on-site parking, but I only counted the spaces that were available in that public lot.
Wait, you mean you can't, so it isn't that it has 30?
No, it has 30.
Okay, I thought you just said.
There are other, yes, it has 30, but I don't, in counting those 30, I did not count spaces that could be on that property, but aren't because they provide access to off-street parking. So
Okay.
if you took that off-street parking and put it in those spaces, you would gain those spaces. above
Okay,
the
so it's on here, it's titled the Seaford Public Parking District. I take it that is some municipality. of-
Municipal
Okay, so
property,
if
yes.
that's the case, then I can't see how that's enforceable. This,
There's signs on it that says.
no, I mean, yeah, there's signs, but I could put a sign on anything, you know?
I don't know how that
Okay,
happened either.
yeah, I don't see how that's enforceable, which means those are more available. Okay, so, go ahead and tell us whatever else you want us to know about
Okay,
this.
so, yeah, the proposal for the second floor is 3 offices, a conference room, a small lounge area, and a file room, and obviously a accessible bath.
3 offices, a conference room.
A conference room, a file room, and a small lounge area. There's also an existing rooftop terrace, which obviously doesn't affect.
Okay.
So we don't feel it's going to be a significant change in the use there or the parking requirements. They've been operating there since 2015, I think, or possibly a little before that.
The office is downstairs.
The office is downstairs, correct, which they renovated in 2015.
This change is new, but it's just a
Yes.
two-bedroom to a, okay.
Right.
Is there anything else you wish to add?
I don't believe so. If anybody has any questions?
Are there any other questions from the board, and if not, do I have a motion?
Motion, the hearing be closed and the case be placed on the decision calendar. You will be notified when we decide it.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
Next, we have case 43325, Levittown, Levittown Muse Associates LP. Variance in off-street parking, construct restaurant Tony's Tacos, also known as 3333, 3335, and 3349 Hempstead Turnpike.
Yes. Craig. There he is.
There's only 2 people signed in on this case. For anyone who's here and wants to get a copy of the decision by mail, you're going to need to sign in. If not, fine, it doesn't mean you have to speak. Mr. Benesso, what are you here on? Okay, good enough. Well, you guys aren't signed in on it. So all 6 of you are here, because I only have 2 sign-ins, okay.
So you're monitoring your... I'm being supervised.
Is it review
It's
time?
unbelievable. You've been here for more.
Is it the quarterly review?
But who supervises you?
Okay.
You supervise him
So
occasionally?
is everyone sworn in? I didn't see. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, I'm Greg Kalnitsky with Vercelli Deegan Tarana, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York. We'll try to make this as streamlined as we can. I represent the Levittown Muse Associates LP. I'm joined today with my colleague Kean Cody from R&M Engineering, Bob Rosenberg from Breslin, Anthony Russo from Breslin, and Mike Scotto of Tony's Tacos. The property is about 7.38 acres or 340,000 square feet on the north side of Hempstead Turnpike, about 350 feet east of its intersection with Jerusalem Avenue. It's located between Jerusalem Avenue and Hamlet Road. Immediately to the north, there's the Levittown Firefighters Memorial Park. To the east and west, along the north side of Hempstead Turnpike, are a slew of large commercial uses, and immediately to the south is a shopping center that has Home Depot in it, also a large shopping center. The Levittown Muse itself houses a number of retail and restaurant outlets. It's accessed via 2 driveways on Hempstead Turnpike. The eastern driveway is at a signalized intersection and functions as the main entrance of the shopping center, and there's also a driveway to the west, which is a secondary means of ingress and egress, where only right in and right out is permitted. Today, the applicant is seeking to add a pad site to the eastern portion of the over 7-acre premises, which, if approved, will be occupied by Tony's Tacos.
I'm looking at the radius map. I see the whole lot, obviously. Where is the Tony's Taco?
On the eastern portion.
In an existing structure or?
No, it's a proposed structure, and I was just about to get into, the board actually approved construction of a pad site there. We just have some slight changes to accommodate the specific tenant.
When you say pad site, you just mean put down the concrete pad to put the building on?
A separate building that's in a shopping center that's disconnected from the attached row of buildings.
Right,
That's
but it's not just a pad, right? You want to put a building on it?
There is a building, yes.
Okay. There already is a building?
No,
Okay.
we're proposing a building, not just a concrete pad.
Okay, I didn't think so, but you kept saying the pad site.
It's a term of art that's used in this, you know, it is,
Sorry.
it's a new proposed building, and back in 2024.
It's a legal term.
What?
Nothing.
A legal term?
No.
Never heard of it. This is case number 533 of 2024. The Levittown used,
433.
He's talking about a previous,
Oh, so the other
yeah,
one,
I'm
wait,
talking about a previous case,
so wait, the other one was case
533 of 24.
533 of 24, and this one's 433 of 25.
Everything's lining up
It's
here.
wild, okay, go ahead.
So, in that case, we proposed the construction of a commercial building that was 4,830 square feet in the exact same location as the one proposed in this application. It also required just a parking variance. At the time, it was 393 off-street parking spaces provided, while 506 parking spaces were required. At the time of that case, the Levittown Muse hadn't identified a tenant yet, but as of today, Tony's Tacos has been identified as the proposed occupant of the new structure.
How many of those are there? I've only seen one, but,
How many Tony's Tacos are there?
yeah, like,
I think there's like, is there 4 of them?
okay. I just wanted to, just curious.
So, because the prior application was for retail use, the parking was calculated at 1 per 200. The proposed site before you today is calculated at 1 per 100 square feet, plus 2 parking spaces for employees, which represents a parking demand of 42.04 spaces. The prior application had 24.15 spaces.
So we went from 506 to what?
There's a delta of 18 parking spaces that we're asking the board for today.
Okay.
So the pad site is being reduced from 4,830 square feet to 4,002 square feet. And the parking requirement is going up from 506 parking spaces to 524 parking spaces. As I said, that's a delta of just 18 spaces. And the previous approval, I think there was an extensive discussion with Mr. Pellegrini about modifications to the site plan and avoiding the funneling in of cars at the
Yes.
main eastern driveway.
Yes.
If you notice, the site plan in front of you today already incorporates that. It hasn't been built, but as soon as we have the tenant, and if we have a project, then the site plan will be modified in accordance with that condition.
Well done, thank you.
So as far as Tony's Tacos, let me tell you a little bit about Tony's Tacos. It's an Italian-influenced fast casual taco chain, and they feature, tacos such as chicken parm tacos, chicken Milanese tacos, which makes it a little bit different than something like a Chipotle. Customers are expected to place their order at the counter. They pay for their purchase. They have their food and drink brought to their tables, and then they bust the tables and leave. So there isn't going to be a traditional wait staff or bar staff that you would see at a restaurant. I don't think so. Do you have an app order? Oh, you do? All right, they have an app. No lane drive-through, though. This is just a structure. The hours of operation are going to be 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. for most of the year, but for May through July, they intend to open at 10 a.m. and close at 10:30 p.m. The site is estimated to employ 25 to 35 people in total, and the operator has every intention of hiring locally if possible. Deliveries will occur in the morning hours from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m., usually before the store opens. They anticipate having a delivery every Monday, with supplemental deliveries to occur throughout the week. The delivery vendors are going to have a key to a rear entrance where there is a walk-in box where they'll simply pull up, bring the stuff in, and lock the place up. Box trucks. The refuse is going to be handled by private carter with a dumpster in the rear of the premises, likely to occur 7 days a week around the same window that the deliveries occur. Right behind our proposed structure, we're going to keep the dumpster, like where the rear entrance is for the lockbox and so forth, that's where the dumpster is going to be in an enclosure. Okay? In order for the project to proceed, we require a single variance. The parking, we're proposing 393 spaces where 524 are required. As mentioned previously, this board has approved a larger structure to go in the same location and had previously granted a variance for 393 spaces where 506 required. That, like we discussed, that's a delta of 18, which Mr. Cody has performed a study and determined that the site can accommodate them. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Mr. Cody to discuss his report.
Yes, Key and Cody.
Mr. Cody, hold on. So have you testified before this board previously?
Yes, on this application last time we were here.
Okay, and since that time, have there been any changes to your qualifications?
No.
Okay, so you can testify as an expert as it relates to parking and traffic, okay? Go ahead.
Just for the record, Key and Cody from R&M Engineering, office at 50 Elm Street, Huntington, New York.
Proceed.
Like Mr. Kalnitzky said, we were here last year for the same application except a slightly larger building that was split between a restaurant and a retail use down the middle, about 2,400 square feet retail, 2,400 square feet restaurant. Since then, the project's been revised to become a 4,000 square feet, give or take, restaurant use. Since our previous traffic impact study was submitted, we have since revised it. We've updated the data used in the analysis, both in the traffic and parking. We performed new observations in terms of traffic on September 13th, 2024. That's a Friday, and we did that during the AM, midday, and PM periods. And we also did September 14th, which is a Saturday, during the midday period. We observed both driveways that lead to the site, the signalized driveway and the driveway to the west. In addition to the traffic observations, we also performed parking observations during the same days for the typical hours that you see a restaurant operating in. I'll start with just going over the traffic. So we observed the two driveways, and then we elevated that data that we observed in 2024 2 years to represent the area in 2026. This represents the future condition or the no-build condition. And then upon that condition, we estimate the traffic activity associated with the proposed project. In this case, the Tony's Tacos restaurant, we are considering a fast casual restaurant. And we consult the Institute of Transportation Engineers, or the ITE, and their latest edition of the traffic trip generation manual. And it results in 6 a.m. trips, 57 midday trips, 50 p.m. trips, and 131 Saturday trips. These trips would occur across the peak hour of time, and they represent both entering and exiting volumes. We then take these vehicle trips and distribute them across the two intersections that we observed, the two driveways. And then we look at the change in how the intersections operated at the no-build condition, which is the 2 years without the project, to the 2 years with the project. We essentially just want to look at how the traffic changes between no project and with project. And we found essentially that the project had a very minor impact overall. The only impact we saw was on the western driveway. We saw only a slight change in the southbound right movement, the turning movement out of the site. Yes. In the delays at the southbound right movement to get back onto Jerusalem from that western unsignalized driveway. Yes, yeah, exiting vehicles. The western one by the Walmart supermarket. So you're turning right onto Jerusalem Avenue. Oh yeah, yes, we don't front Jerusalem. We only front Hempstead Turnpike. You're turning right from the shopping center onto Hempstead Turnpike. So the only increase in increase in levels of service, which are the ways we evaluate traffic impacts, was at that western unsignalized driveway for vehicles turning right back onto Hempstead Turnpike. And the delays, the change in level of service was only due to it being already near what we call a break point between the levels of service. So let's say 59.7 is D, and then 60.1 is an E. We only saw less than a second difference in the delays. So it was just jumping, 1 second delay caused it to go over. We consider it a minor impact, and because it's turning from the traffic in the shopping center, it's not going to impact any of the traffic on Hempstead Turnpike. So we don't think any modifications need to be done. We're also not considering any shared trips between people already at the shopping center. So realistically, the number of trips we're saying are probably a little bit lower. That delay probably wouldn't exist. In terms of the parking, we did those observations, and we saw a peak parking demand on site of 261 vehicles on the Friday and 311 vehicles, that's the future volumes. We saw a peak of 279 vehicles on the Saturday. We once again used the ITE parking generation manual this time to estimate the parking demand associated with the proposed use. For the fast casual use, we'd estimate 40 parked vehicles on a Friday and 30. Yes. 40 on the Friday and 32 on the Saturday. Then superimposing those volumes together to get that future, how much would be parked in total, and not including any shared parking between someone going to the supermarket and then to Tony's or any of the other uses. It resulted in a peak parking demand of 311 out of the 393 future parking spaces. So we'd still have 82 vacant parking spaces on site without any shared factor being included there. It was that 279. So yes, so we take the peak and then overlay it on the peak. So we give the most conservative estimate we can with that volume. So essentially we found that with the two peaks overlaid, we'd still have 82 vacant parking spaces, and based off the information from the applicant, there were no vacant tenant spaces or anything at the site at that time. So that represents the current peak parking demand and the future peak parking demand. Based off that information, we didn't find any significant impacts with the traffic and believe the site can more than accommodate the future parking demand associated with the use. We're also only seeking an 18 space increase in the variance that we had previously obtained, and we have assuaged Mr. Pellegrini hopefully with the parking at the entrance. So now when you come in through the signalized intersection, you go up and you no longer, after you pass 2 or 3 rows, run into parking spaces. There's now a clear shot all the way through.
All right, I'm just going to go through quickly the legal criteria, and we'll wrap up. Don't have to? I'll skip. Absolutely. I'll talk to our clients afterwards, and we will deal with that. But no, we heard. I'm very comfortable that the board's familiar with the standards, and at the end of the day, you heard from Mr. Cody that even if we conservatively estimate the peak demand, that there's going to be 80 parking spaces available on the lot. So I'm comfortable with omitting it. No.
I make a motion, a hearing be closed and the case be placed on the decision calendar. We will advise you when the decision is rendered.
Second? All in favor? All right, have a nice afternoon,
Thank you so
evening.
much.
Thanks, Becky.
Thank you, Becky. Don't you love days with,
This, this
Is
was a
what?
particularly fun one.
okay. All right. So let's do the cases we've just heard, and then we'll move forward. Cases 424 through 426 of 2025. It's West Hempstead, 590 Hempstead LLC. The property is at 590 Hempstead Turnpike. No sequel yet. I think that's a case we're going to want to hold. We've got a lot of research to do, probably some inspections, right?
And also NCPC has held the case in abeyance. They're apparently meeting in a week or so.
Doesn't even say that.
From my perspective, that I just do not feel that this Chipotle could fit onto this piece of property, considering the neighboring streets, you know, without knocking the building down.
Yeah, I mean, I think we really got to get into this and figure it out and do some inspections. Yeah, I agree with you. Agree. Okay, so we're going to put that on reserve. Everyone who can look at it, please do.
So board to inspect and NCPC.
Yes, and CEQA needed, but it doesn't even say NCPC held.
No, it doesn't.
I will.
No, I'm not.
If it says local determination, that means it's done. So if you don't see it, that means
Yeah.
something.
So then we have case 424 of 2025 in Dunson Lynn. Oh, I'm sorry, 427, 2025, Dunson Lynn. It's 2241 Jerusalem Avenue in North Belmore. What do we say about this, guys? This is the one that we're gonna have to, I think we need to wait for our chairman to be here, and and then I think we need to go over it and discuss what to do with this case. Whether it's something we can structure in a way to facilitate some reasonable business requests, but a system that isn't really set up to do it that way, or
know
not.
You want to wait for the chairman? Would you guys like me to do a draft in the meanwhile, and then we can go over that?
I
think it's, personally, Katora, with all due respect, I think was quite convoluted and it's going to take the chairman a lot. You have an opinion of what it should be?
I just think we don't have a consensus now.
Yeah,
So I
understood.
think we should,
Okay.
okay.
I'm sure the chairman will review the record.
Yeah, well, he's gonna need to, and we're all gonna need to really push up our sleeves and go back through the materials and fully appreciate all the facets of it. Okay, next is, 428.
I'd like to let Lou Carnavale address us because it was in and out all over the place.
Okay, we can, we'll just, 428 of 2025, Stephanie Keller. I was gonna say that, 97 Hewlett Avenue. Point Lookout is adjourned, 10-1 at 2 o'clock. We have the two cases of the little schoolhouse. They are 429 and 430 of 2025. That's the Little Schoolhouse LLC, 288 through 290 of Broadway and 302 of Broadway, all near Lynbrook. Does anyone have any discussion or any motion on this case?
I make a motion, first I move that we adopt a negative CEQA declaration as to the CEQA determination based on testimony given, exhibits in the file, and other materials we have reviewed and analyzed.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Okay,
And on 429, 25, and 430 of 25, Little Schoolhouse LLC, I move that it's granted as requested with usual conditions.
okay, and after our discussion, and we determined that it would be granted as a special exception, given the legal information provided by counsel.
Yes, I
Is there a
agree.
second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Did you say 430 also already? Oh, I thought you'd done a sequel, but not in the other. Okay, so 431 in Roosevelt, that's the Roosevelt Children's Academy. It's at 111 Pleasant Avenue, again in Roosevelt. Case 431, 2025. Discussion and/or motion, or both?
Academy at 111 Pleasant Avenue be approved as requested with normal sign conditions.
Second. All in
Temporary,
favor?
yes. Aye.
Case 432 of 2025, Tepa Realty LLC. This is the conversion, as you know, of the second floor from a two-bedroom, two-bath to two offices. This is, 3956 Merrick Road in Seaford. No sequel yet. Any discussion? If not, are there some motions?
I move Case number 432 of 2025, Teeper Realty, based upon the information in file, testimony in the file, that we adopt the negative deck under SEQA.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
With regard to the case itself, I inspected it twice. The testimony says that there's 2 municipal parking lots that are very well available, and I would move that we grant it in accordance with the applicant's plot plan, limited to the two offices on the second floor.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's good, let's keep the 2 offices. There's 2 offices and it was two, yeah, proposed there's 2 offices and, like a conference room and a seating room with lobby or something. Yeah, he did.
What?
Rooftop deck too.
Oh, yeah?
Okay, good. Trying to see the ocean.
Okay, so case 433 of 2025, Levittown Muse Associate LP. This is the property at 3333, 3335, 3349 Hempstead Turnpike in Levittown. There's been no CEQA determination yet. Does anyone have any discussion or any motions?
Yeah, we were gonna hold that because there's nothing from.
Yeah, there's no NCPC.
Okay, so
I mean, they did just have it, but
we'll hold that on reserve until we get the NCP determination.
Yes. Yes.
But I think
Yeah.
procedurally council is saying we need to wait for the NCPC.
not necessarily. Yeah, they have 30 days to render a decision. They've been past that.
I mean, I can go either way. If there's no exposure and we want to do it now, I'm fine with that.
I mean,
Well,
they're
let's hear from
also-
Christine.
They're also supposed to be, I would assume, they meet on 8/14, we probably should have that decision.
Okay, we have no exposure, let's just decide the case.
I agree.
Okay, do I have a discussion or motion?
Joanne?
I make a motion, I move that we adopt a negative CEQA declaration as to the CEQA determination based on testimony given, exhibits in the file, and other materials we have reviewed and analyzed.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
On 433 Levittown Muse Associates on testimony, and I move that we grant the variance.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
I believe that the
That's Joanne, it's Joanne's turn. I don't want to take her turn. I'm just trying to eat, the king is waiting for me. Well, the king is Mr. Blakeman.
Oh, does the other king know that?
I don't,
That's the emperor. I have code names for everybody. I call Vigano the little guy.
That's the little guy.
Vigano.
Yeah. This guy.
I call him the little guy. Well, he's the chairman, you know? Junior chairman. Because the chairman is the chairman, but he's the junior chairman.
There's not going to be any traffic generated by this parcel. There's
we back to Lido Beach now?
I move that we close the hearing and adjourn to
Second.
Second, all in favor?
August 14th.